saying all the N words.
Nachos.
No. What?
Everything.
There's a lot. We
This
don't
is
have
way
enough
too
stream
fucking
time
long.
to go into depth on that one.
Oh my God.
What do you
Wow.
mean? What do you mean? What's the last time around it happened? That's bullshit.
Oh boy.
I blame Ash. It's his fault.
Huh?
Don't try to bait Ash into being a bad egg.
Okay, I blame Steve then.
Now, to be fair, the stream didn't catch anything, so we're good.
Now, to be fair,
Yeah, it did.
But how does
I'm
he
the
know
best
that?
noodle.
Because I had the stream on, for the past 15 minutes.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you loaded.
The first 20 seconds are in Cad's memory eternally.
Well, let me just tell you, Cad's heard and seen a lot worse, I'm sure.
He's willing to sacrifice. All right, what
Yeah,
if we
because
called
you've
you
seen
one-handed?
you've seen much worse.
So what
Alright,
if I
but what
yelled
if-
Roll Tide?
What if you bit into a sandwich and there was mayonnaise?
Roll
in it?
Tide.
Midstream.
Roll Tide.
Wait,
I don't know.
Because you're
Maybe
hungry. Roll Tide.
Because
Because they
you
messed
don't
up your
know.
order.
Okay. Mhm.
Yes.
Would that make you
Why not?
No,
You open your burgers and everything else?
You wait, hold on. Oh, in the little settings for it?
There's
He's
been
so
enough
paranoid.
sneaky mayonnaise.
Take
He's
off
so
the mayonnaise
paranoid.
box. It's like I want this club sandwich to not have any mayonnaise, so it's not a club sandwich.
It's Big Mayo conspiracy, man. They're out to get you.
It's Big Mayo.
There's just a giant jar of mayonnaise peeking in Cad's window right now.
Wait, I just made the craziest reach. Big mayonnaise, Big Mom.
Big
Mayonnaise over mankind, Big Mom.
I
That's
see what you're
big
trying
mayonnaise
to
doesn't want you to
do,
know.
but consider the following: Big Man Blastoise. Ash knows what's up.
Big Man Blastoise.
Big Man Blastoise.
Big Man Blastoise.
I'm still trying to
reason
figure
we
out
can-
which weapon Aurelia has on.
It's a great sword. It's an Ardean great sword.
If it's a great sword, it's rotated wrong and the blade is up against her back.
What if that was the intention because the doggo is pulling it?
Is the doggo pulling it?
Or is he hanging on to it?
No, the dog's holding onto the butt.
Well, one paw is hanging on to
The
it.
toe, the toe beans aren't connected to it, so it's not holding the butt.
Oh, he's got you there.
If you observe the butt closely, there is in
What
fact
the
no
fuck is
contact.
this shit?
Also, the chocobo is staring at you.
No, it's looking down. Why are you zooming in on? What are you?
It's staring at you specifically, Ash.
It's not looking at me specifically. It's looking at the food
Staring at
that is
the
being
well
dropped
done
in the air right now.
steak.
It's literally signature look of superiority. You're
He's
what?
judging you.
He's got you there, Ash.
He's
Listen,
gotcha there.
listen. First of all,
Gotcha,
Dad could
man.
not even ride a
Gotcha,
chocobo without falling
man.
off with how tall he is.
That's not a chocobo. That's
Gotcha.
a secret.
Gotcha,
Listen,
man.
If you're
It's a
gonna call it
chocobo.
a chocobo, you need to start using the actual phrasing, and it's que.
What?
Quack,
Dominic.
What?
quack, quack,
Quack.
Wait.
Yay.
quack, quack.
Yay.
Wait.
Boy, so
What the heck's going on right now?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna report you.
What
You want to
song?
quit
What?
all of us?
Godzilla.
God damn. Don't you ask me this stupid. You know chat can't hear you right now.
I love
No,
a
they can't. It's going
Quesadilla.
through it. It's going through the stream.
Can they hear him? Good. Because they can hear the slander that's occurring.
But it's all true. It's not slander if it's a lie, Ash.
It's a false narrative. You're literally trying to paint a false narrative.
What
Your
falses
false
are being
narrative.
spoken here?
The fact that I've not had a quesadilla.
You haven't.
I have.
You live in New York.
I've had a quesadilla.
About
How?
that.
That's not what
Ash.
it's called.
You live in New York City. They don't exist up there.
What do you mean they don't exist up here? Of course they do.
No, they
No,
don't.
they don't.
Yes, they do.
Ash, why are you so aggressive about that?
Does New York City even exist?
Wait, hold
Is
on.
New York
Unfortunately,
actually
it
a
does.
state?
Unfortunately, yeah.
No, I've never
It's not a
heard
state,
of
it's a
New
territory.
York.
Listen. New York is the place that you all eventually get to come to in a few months. All right, I want to hear it.
Yeah, we're going to the territory of New York.
Territory? What?
I thought it was old New York.
What do you mean? Oh,
New York, New York.
It's not new New York.
Yeah,
Because
Old New
that's
York.
established in the year 2756.
Exactly. So thus it's old New York.
oh,
We call it York, York.
York.
I believe that's
Oh, York.
Yorkshire, which is in the UK.
We're going to the Shire.
Earth,
No,
Wind, and
Taking the
Fire.
Office of Isengard.
では前に出ます
Okay, I had to leave them. Chat, I just got the tweet out. Do me a favor, go give it some love. It's Artoria this time. It's not Lartoria, but that shouldn't matter. You guys should appreciate it either way. Okay. How's everybody doing? Sorry about that. I didn't get to mute. Let me grab you guys today's sauce. Hello, Ralph. Hello, Yugi. Oh, let me grab this for you guys as well. Am I listening to? This is an interesting remix. Okay, let's get this started. Oh, Prophet skipped it. Wow. Okay, there we go. Chat, here's today's artwork. I didn't think I needed to crop it, but I erred on the safe side because, you know, Twitch. But there is today's artwork. Go give the artist some love. Like I said, I also got to go live tweet out. Do me the favor, give that some love. Haven't seen any spoilers yet. Good. Congratulations. So chat, you did see today I also had a new art piece for us. I know Wilds isn't everyone's taste, but this art piece was done by Clue Seller. Clue does fantastic artwork. And he pretty much, honest to God, chat, I'm actually amazed at how little instruction I gave Clue for this piece and how good this turned out. Like, that's a sign of a really good artist, because Clue is a Japanese artist, so there is a language barrier there. Now, with some artists, I have to really spell things out, okay? And it's like, I'm not going to say that's a bad thing if I have to. Some artists just take better to it. But if you as an artist can take very little instruction and turn it into an amazing art piece like this, that is a sign of your just raw talent, I think. So again, I gave him all the reference materials that he would need, but I don't even think Clue plays Monster Hunter. And Clue still pulled this one out. First thing I noticed was the Otagaran legs. Good. That is what I gave him. Yeah, I gave him a picture of my character in the Otagaran set. He actually adapted it, if you guys can see. A lot of it is actually like a variant of Aurelia's armor that he did. It still has Aurelia's crown, still has her hair ribbon, and he also managed to, instead of the palicos, work in the dogs. So you guys can see. I also asked him, I sent him the clip of the cats running away carrying the meat, and this is what he came up with from it. I think he did a great job with it. So you can see it's like, oh, they're spilling like the meat and fruit and veggies all over the place. And honestly, the actual like one-to-one detail here, like all of the like tassels and ribbons, the pouch, chat, even the freaking saddle, look at that detail. Like, I didn't ask him to do all of this. He went above and beyond the call. And that's why I'm just going to say, it's like, he really gave this piece his all, and it turned out wonderfully. So I have to really like appreciate it. He even, chat, he got my Sacred exactly the way it is in game, right down to the eyes and everything. So I was impressed. The background is nice too. Yep, I sent him pictures from in-game for that. So he pretty much just got it all down to a T. I think he even had a time lapse. Let me see if I have it here real fast. It may take it a second. Just yeah, so and by the way, chat, so like right here, this is how he sent it to me. And he's like, "Do you approve the sketch?" And I was like, I've seen artists do sketches before. Most of the time, like, they go way more elaborate than this. Okay? Like you'll see them basically, like, they'll go full blown into the line art. Here's the thing. I'll say this. I actually have a hard time when an artist goes that deep into the art piece already asking for changes, because I know how much effort the artist already put in, and asking them to change it sometimes with certain artists, it's like pulling teeth. With Clue did it amazingly. And like the only hard part I said, I remember when I asked him, and I was just like, okay. I'm like, it looks good. I could see like Aurelia here. I could see the sacred that she's riding. And I was just like, what's this over here on the right? And he's like, oh, those are your mascots carrying the food. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I can't see that at all, right? Like, I could reasonably make out some of the other stuff. We had talked about having a mascot on the back of the sacred. So I was like, oh, that's probably what this is. But I had no idea. Like, this just looked like scribbles and like rock formations. So this is what he sent me to approve of. But I was still just like, dude, he's already, just from like raw circle drawing here, gotten the gist of the character. And I'm like, yeah, it's looking good. Go ahead, proceed. And he did. That looks sus? What do you mean? So you can see this is what he started out with, and then this is the actual like iterative process where he already had it. Like, I'm gonna be real with y'all, chat. Already at like this point, this already could have been enough of an art piece that like some artists would have literally just like been like, here, just a rough color. And like, I'm gonna be real with y'all, I would still pay money for something like this. Like, this is still pretty decent. And from here, he just goes and details everything. I love that he started with the hair, because hair is, we were talking about it on Kaido's stream the other day. It's like, hair is always a problem. And you can see from here, he's already got it all blocked out. Oh, he forgot the stirrup. Okay. Interesting. Oh my god, I didn't realize how many levels he put on the sacred there. Like, that's actually kind of insane if you go back. So like, here's where he starts working on it. There's at least 5 levels on that. And then he did the background last, which is interesting. Honestly, I'm really impressed by that. It took me 2 years to get a commission with Clue. Clue has a really long wait list. And okay, so this was interesting because I was pointing this out to VIP right before I went live. People didn't believe me. I have no idea why, but this is the Japanese word for illustration, and he named it Batman. So it's like illustration Batman. I don't know why. Maybe Clue thinks I'm Batman. I have no idea. But like, yeah, it took me 2 years to get this commission out of him. I didn't like I hadn't been like, oh, for 2 years I want you to do a Monster Hunter Wilds commission. For 2 years I'd wanted a commission from Clue, and I wasn't sure what to do. So then it finally, like, it actually came up early. He got his slot for me, like, I think about a month or two early. And so I was like, okay, let me think of an idea. And in the process, like, Wilds is already coming out, so it's just like, boom, here you go. Do me a Wilds piece. And yeah, I'm worth every penny, honestly. I think this is one of those where people will look at this and maybe at a glance they won't think this is that good of a piece. To someone like me, I look at this and I am blown away by the depth of detail on this. Got exposed as Batman, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so it was really, really impressive, the amount of detail he put into that. How much would an art like this cost? It really depends, because like for someone like me, that's going to cost a lot more because I have the mascot characters. So I think if you want a quality art piece with a singular character, and I'm not speaking specific to Clue here. I'm talking in general. If you want a quality art piece with a specific character, I think $200 to $300 is a good price point. I think cheaper than that, how do I put it? Cheaper than that, the quality will wildly vary depending on the artist that you get. More expensive than that, the quality will wildly vary and probably not be worth it. It really depends on which artist in the same way. So, in the like $200 to $300 range, you're going to get people that are well established and have done quite a bit of commission work and know what they're doing. Cheaper than this, you're going to get some less experienced individuals, which means you're playing a little bit of like blackjack or roulette with it because you're just not sure what you're going to get. And more expensive than this, you're starting to pay for brand. That is to say, you're paying for the notoriety of the artist. And that can unfortunately have some really, really bad repercussions. I have one of the most expensive art pieces I've ever commissioned is one of the actually like worst art pieces that I've had. And I don't know why, other than that artist talked a big game and then absolutely flopped and like didn't deliver. So it was really, really sad in that regard. Aurelia Banksy piece? Wait, I'm confused. Is there a reference here that I'm not understanding? Something that takes time to be done and is done from scratch? Yeah. The thing is, and this is really interesting, because in talking to Clue, I asked him, I was like, okay, so how long is the wait list for your next one? He told me 2027. So I told him, I was like, just go ahead and put me down again. It's like, I have no idea what the future holds, but like, go ahead and put me down, because I, like, at this point, I may as well. Like, he did such a good job with it, and he was such a pleasure to work with. But the interesting part about this is, Banksy graffiti artists. Oh, I feel like I know what you're talking about. I'd have to find an artist capable of doing something in that style. That's interesting. But, oh, I actually didn't do the thing that I wanted to do there, but it should be fine unless she actually does need it. Does she? No. Okay, sweet. What was I saying? I don't remember now. Massive boobs? Yes, massive boobs. Did I do the NACQ? I have not. I'm not too worried about it. We'll get it done. I'm just more focused on like getting everything back on track now. So, TLDR chat, tax season's over for me. Done. Today was the last day, and we finished at 5. And I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm actually kind of pissed we finished at 5, because I was assured the list was done at like 2 o'clock, and it just kind of kept going. For real this time? Yeah, I have one major return I have to get done here in the next like week, but otherwise, I'm good. Ethereus, thank you for the 100 bits. Start talking about Devil May Cry cosplay. But yeah, so as an update, chat, I guess we could say this is bad news. I did go to see my grandmother this morning. She was asleep, and my father tried to wake her, because I know he wanted me to, have that moment with her. He could not wake her. And he said, he's like, this is how she was the other day. But then she woke up and she was alert and she was fine and everything was good. But so she was asleep when I got there this morning. We tried to ask a nurse, and she was like, oh, I'm done making my rounds. Let me go put this machine away and I'll be right there. We waited for like half an hour, and the nurse never came back. So my dad was talking to my mom, and she was like, well, just let him go at that point. So he sent me back to the office so that I could go, and he kind of stayed and tried to see if he could find another nurse to like get her, to see if he could get like some sort of status update, get her awake and all of that. And he arrived maybe a half hour after I got to the office, and I was like, hey, you know, what went on? And he's like, I couldn't get anyone. So legitimately, that's kind of aggravating. I know nurses have busy, hectic jobs, so I get that. But it was one of those deals where it's like we couldn't get assistance even if we tried, and it was kind of disheartening in that regard. And then what last I heard, which was from my father at about like 3 p.m., because my mother at that point had gone to see her and had like tried to stay there with her. They can't get her to wake up. So she's basically back in a coma. At this point, they've decided to actually send her off to hospice. It was looking like they might not, since she was getting, awake. So that was probably the last time I'm ever going to see my grandmother, unless I can manage to squeeze something in at some point. But as of the current point in time, she has legitimately not woken up in like, it's been over 24 hours now. So it is what it is. It's probably her time. I mean, I looked at her, she was laying there, and like, I mean, she's still my sweet old grandmother, but she looked so frail and like just fragile. So I think it's just her body basically is given out on her at this point. So it is what it is. I'll update you guys if I hear anything more after this point, but yeah, I think it's at this point it's just a matter of time. It's sad. It sucks. I'm happy I at least got to like see her, you know, but it is what it is. So sorry to hear that. Yeah, I mean, it's rough. I know I've been trauma dumping on you guys here the past couple days. I'm sorry for that. It's just I have to kind of like let you guys know, because I think, you know, some people have had interactions with me and they're maybe like, oh, why is Cat acting this way? Why does he seem down? Why does he seem angry? Why does he seem like, I don't know, tired even to a degree? And it's like, it's all of this. I had extended deadline hours that were just eating me alive. I've had numerous issues around the house that I've been dealing with. Oh, shit. I actually need to go turn off my sprinklers. Let me be right back, chat. Okay, sorry about that. Actually didn't turn it off. I have a manual sprinkler. Oh, wait, what happened to my headset? Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. The sprinklers took my headset, yeah. You can see, my life is kind of a mess right now. I'm scatterbrained and I'm all over the place. I'm really good at multitasking, but I'm trying to do too many things at once. So, effectively, I didn't go turn off my sprinkler. I just moved it to a different area of the lawn because I'm having to do like a manual sprinkler because my actual irrigation isn't working because the city isn't pumping water to our stuff, which sucks and is stupid, but it is the way it is. Okay. On top of that, like I said, the whole situation with my grandmother is what it is, but I wanted you guys to understand why. I didn't want to have to like keep trauma dumping on you guys, but it is rough, and it is one of the reasons that things have been this way. It's why, like, here now, chat, we're on the back end of a Lotto. I also am dealing with Ordeal Call 4. I'm probably going to stream this weekend, but I think I'm going to commit to, like, next week. I'm going to try to take maybe 1 to 2 days off of stream. I just need it. I need the actual, like, time to kind of recuperate and, like, just settle in, because it's been an issue in that regard. Got a big sports ball to watch tonight? No problem. But yeah, so it's like, it's been rough. It's been a rough stretch here. Obviously the situation with my grandmother's ongoing. My parents are actually going to be leaving on vacation in like a week or two here, and I'm going to be stuck dealing with like their animals on top of that, on top of my daily task going to work and dealing with my own animals. So it's like, it's still going to be probably like another month before I can take a proper vacation. But at least the hours should come down. At least I should be like better there. But that's why I don't want to like be like, oh my God, okay, let's hit the ground running. Let's do all this stuff. I am exhausted. That is the best thing that I can say to you guys right now, is just like, I actually need some time to myself. I need a little bit of like rest and relaxation. And so it's like, I still have a lot of stuff I want to do on the YouTube side of things. I still have robust plans, so don't worry about any of that. But it's like, if it's seeming like I'm like slacking here, I want you guys to understand I 100% am. Like, I don't want to make any excuses for that. I am 100% slacking in that regard. So if I don't get to every message right away, if I don't like end up like giving every single like day like my 100%, you'll know why. And hopefully I'll come out of this stronger, rested, relaxed, and actually able to hit the ground running. But right now, with tax season being over, with this being my first like sequence off here where it's like Friday, I'm hoping to God my dad lets us go early Friday, but we'll see. And like, then I'm going to go into the weekend. We also have, you know, like the holidays, the summer holidays coming up here soon. So I'm hopeful that that'll be enough to kind of recuperate me. So how much QP do we get when Ordeal Call releases so there won't be overflow? I believe it's 800 million or 700 million. I don't remember the exact amount, but it's one of those two. Is there a reason there's no Kashin team on the spreadsheet? Because she has 100% damage bonus, so it's not hard to just make a random team with her, so the spreadsheet isn't needed. Like, are you talking about like 90 plus, or are you talking about plus? I'm gonna say it's probably just an oversight on our part, Peepo. Like, we probably actually just missed it. 90 plus is a little bit more difficult for stuff like that, but 90 plus, yeah, you should be able to use pretty much any damage bonus unit. All right, what was I doing here? So, trying to get the nodes run out of the way and everything. And this is, by the way, chat, the 90 plus node as we speak. Oh shit, I never did. Well, this could get interesting. You didn't hit the ground running, you hit her with your face? I'm about to. I'm about to face plant if I don't actually get some rest. Does QP go into the gift box? No. Straight into your inventory. So you have to be careful. A CE drop, they can still happen, yes. Saying spreadsheet isn't needed is a crazy statement. So, I mean, to a degree, the spreadsheet's not needed. If you're a smart, savvy player, you can absolutely get the job done without it. I know that sounds insane, but like, how do you guys think we do it on JP every year, right? There's always a way to figure stuff out. Now, so this is an interesting one because maybe what people are used to is like the idea that it's like, oh, people go to sites like, say, what am I thinking here? Like at media and stuff like that. And I'm like, honest to God, sometimes I'll ask people if they have any comps or if they've seen any comps, and someone will go to at media and check. But the vast majority of the time, I just figure out a composition myself. Sounds like a slight to people that made the sheet. Yeah, no, it's fine. I get it. To me, if we're not making a good spreadsheet and people aren't using it, that's on us. So as long as we're making a good product, I trust that you guys will use it. If we're not, then there's probably an issue with it that needs to be dealt with. But like I said, as to why there's no caching comp, I'm gonna be real. I didn't think of it. I don't know. I can't speak for Avalon. Maybe he tried to make it work, but like realized that the refund was really bad because that is one of her issues. So. It'll be lazy on an A most of the time right now. Yeah. Okay, so this is the way the comp is actually supposed to go. It's funny because I think I just proved the fact that my comp is too strong and I don't need to worry about that. Basically, you're supposed to use Caster Martha here for easy power modifiers on Arcuid and Koyanskaya. I have scuffed enough, yeah. Korean Dark has a lot more utility than you realized. I'm totally investing a bit more into her now. Good. I'm glad. Because that's I kid you not, Cal. That's what I realized years ago when she came out on JP. Like at first, my first impressions of her was that she was good, but that the ways in which she was good was so niche that it would hardly ever be useful. And now I've like completely 180'd on that, and I think the people criticizing her and saying that she's somehow like in dire need of upgrades and stuff, I'm like, don't get me wrong, you can definitely upgrade her, but I think she's actually still really good. Like it's kind of wild to me that people say that stuff. Sorry, I had to think for a second there. I've run this node because I've only been doing NAT AP, so I've run this node like 3 times. I'm doing well, Insane. It only sucks in her NP2 damage, and it sucks even with advantage. No, I don't think her damage sucks at all. I think her damage is fine. I will say where you want to be using her NP damage is when it's actually an Earth trait. Like that's where she's super effective then, right? So it's like that's what you actually need to be targeting. Funny vamp. And Insane, they give her the 51. Appreciate it. Why are my alerts not making noise? I think I turned them off at some point, and I just didn't turn them back on. Is chat still seeing the alert pop-ups on screen? Yes. Okay, 2 said yes, 1 said no. I'm gonna assume the one that said no didn't watch. Yeah, I will say I know YouTube is not giving me alerts. That's something I have to work on. That's a post-tax season thing here. Which it is something I will look into sooner than later. Hello, Ice. How have you been? Potato. Man, I had a blast. Congrats. Also, no spoilers. I feel like that comes with the territory now. You guys know. And if you don't, you're going to learn. That was me, but no Fujino. Oof. You got laid off from my tax job? Oh no. Was it because tax season ended? So they were just like, eh. Kat, do you feel Koyami NP lags your phone? No, but it definitely does seem to happen to people. Like, I don't really notice it. Usually it is a like actual device issue. But I mean, with the way things are nowadays, I wouldn't even say it's necessarily even that. Ooh, I got saved by that. I nearly tapped Arcuid's charge skill. And I did not want to. Okay, so I heard the bit alert for that, but there was no on-screen pop-up for that one. So that was the inverse of the prior alert. I'm so confused. I feel like Iliad Fest is a good time, so how about it? I don't have the time right now. Like, if I can manage it, I'll definitely try. But it is. I saw it on screen one. Wait, did you? That's so weird. I didn't see it on my end. Like, I have the OBS pulled up over here. I'm so confused. I didn't see any on my screen. Yeah. Maybe it's like Schrodinger's alert. Yeah, dance hasn't been working either. I mean, I can make Aurelia dance manually for you guys, but that's another one that, like, I think there's a disconnect with the bot because chat has noticed that chat's noticed that, like, whenever there's a sub in chat, it, like, or anything like that, it actually, like, it's my account that's thanking people now instead of Aurelia bot. So I don't know what's happened in the meantime. Something clearly has had, like, some sort of reset, and I just need to figure out what it was. Yeah, okay, so let's talk about Xbox. So today, Xbox announced, after a thorough and tough, like, iterative process, they've decided to up their prices. They didn't want to, but they've decided to make the tough choice to up their prices. The tough choice to up their prices. You know what, chat? I've decided to make the tough choice to up the price of my subs. You now have to all tier 2 sub or else. Like, what the fuck, dude? The thing that I hate about this, and I really do hate it, is that there are people out there that will go out there and they will defend this to the death. They will be like, no, guys, you don't understand. Xbox is doing the thing it needs to do. Like, Xbox isn't in the wrong here. Microsoft is 100% right to do this. It's the increased price of games. You don't understand. They're not. We literally just got a $50 Oblivion remake, chat. And it is better than any game Microsoft has released at this point in the past 2 years. Like, huh? So, I understand the fanboys are going to come out and defend it. But I'm going to say this. I've told you guys before. It's like, I really don't have a dog in the fight of the console wars. I don't care about your fanboyism. I have owned every like type of console. I've owned Sega. I've owned, the only thing I haven't owned is an Atari, okay? Because it wasn't around back then. I've owned the original Nintendo Entertainment System. I have owned Nintendo 64. I have owned GameCube. I have owned the Wii. I have owned the Nintendo Switch, okay? I have owned the Sega Genesis. I have owned the Sega Dreamcast. On top of that, if we go to Sony, I have owned a PlayStation 2. That was actually my first. I got given a ton of PlayStation 1 games from a friend. I have owned a PlayStation 3, a PlayStation 4, and now a PlayStation 5. In the Xbox case, I have owned an original Xbox and an Xbox 360. Okay? So let the record show I am not partial or biased towards any of them. But I will still 100% call a console out when they are doing some absolutely dumbass shit like this. So, chat, they are increasing the price to $80 on their games. There is no tough choice about this. There is literally no necessity to do this. The only reason they are doing this is because they watched Nintendo do it and they literally heard about the pre-order numbers for the Switch 2. So I'm going to say this, chat. You're not going to like me for saying this, but anybody that went out and pre-ordered a Switch 2, you did this. I hate to say it. I understand people want it, but this is the reason. We actively condoned Nintendo doing this. And because we condoned Nintendo doing it, we gave Nintendo an inch, and Microsoft is now taking a mile. That's really all it is. Don't read anything into it more than that, because none of the rest of it matters. It's all just people going to flap their gums, people going to defend or deny or whatever, okay? Yeah, Sony will absolutely be next. Mark my words. For any Sony fanboys that are out there, they're like, Xbox is doing it, Nintendo's doing it, Sony's coming out of this smelling like a rose. You're next. Okay? Just understand. You're absolutely next. It's happening. I guarantee it. Because if the other two do it, obviously the third one's going to do it. They're going to standardize it. They're going to say, wait, heck yeah, I'm going to make the money off of that too. And it will eventually, Gabe and clap. Guess what, PC gamers? Guess where it's coming after Sony? Yeah, we're not escaping it either. Nobody is getting out of this one alive, okay? So we're all getting the $80 crackdown. Here's the thing about this. In the grand scheme of things, does it matter? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. It's up to you to decide at what point a game has value still, what the price point is that you're willing to pay for your entertainment. Yeah, it's vote with your wallet, okay? So, again, now that I've said about Nintendo, guys, if you want a Nintendo Switch 2, I don't care. I really don't. I am just going to say the act of actually supporting Nintendo rather than letting Nintendo crash and burn because they did this choice, this is the repercussions of it, okay? So, it is what it is. The interesting part about this, and Trubs said this. I think he was joking when he said it, but goddamn, Trubs had one of the smartest insights I've ever heard. Because I was sitting there yapping it up at lunchtime talking about this and how stupid Xbox was to do this. Because, chat, nobody buys Xbox consoles. And if you're somebody in the audience that buys an Xbox console, I don't hate you. You're perfectly fine. But let the record show that the Xbox console is, at least for the current generation, an absolute shadow of all its prior generations in terms of sales. It is absolutely getting trounced in the console wars at the moment. Very few people are purchasing it. And it's obvious as to why. The only reason people will purchase it is as a PC alternative. Nobody is purchasing it for the games because there are no games. It is not there are no exclusive titles to Xbox. Everything that releases on Xbox releases also on PC. And furthermore, to some degree, now you have Microsoft coming out and saying that, yeah, things that release on Xbox will also release on PlayStation and probably Nintendo Switch. So there's no real reason to own an Xbox at that point, other than preference or, again, desire to like not have to get a full-fledged PC. So that's why the actual console's not selling well. So them marking up the price of their console, I'm gonna be real with y'all, that doesn't matter. No one was going to buy it anyways. This is just, I guess, to a degree, Microsoft saying, you know what, let's not take as much of a loss on our console. But them coming out and announcing that they will be like upping the games before the holiday season, chat, I know like most of y'all don't think about this because most of y'all are internet denizens, and you kind of, I'm not going to say that you don't like go out your daily life and are a normal person. You are, but like, you guys got to understand the mentality of this. They're increasing games to $80 before the holiday season. Isn't that backwards? You're literally saying, hey, right before Christmas, we're raising our prices. That is actually stupid of them. That will hurt their sales. That will not help their sales. They want to try to rake people harder. Yeah, absolutely. This is backwards logic from how they should be thinking. Nolly Boy, thank you for the 44. And Ethereus, thank you for the 10 months. Appreciate it. I've become the guinea pig to test alerts. I didn't see it if it actually popped up. That's my bad. I'm sorry. Black Friday about to become Red Friday. Yeah, so it's like they're dead again. Okay, interesting. Yeah, just scream at me if I miss an alert then, chat. I'm sorry. Same thing for you guys on YouTube. I see chat at least, so if something goes by in that regard, I do see it, but I'm not hearing things. But yeah, so it's like it's completely scummy. And I've seen people be like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to buy Xbox games anyways." And it's like, that's true. I do think to a large degree, Xbox has had a lot of whiffs. A lot. Like, Microsoft has not been doing well with their studios. Okay? So with that in mind, does it matter that they increase their prices? Yep, it does. Because they are just the next link in the chain. They're going to lead to another link, and another link, and another link. So it's just going to keep happening. Furthermore, and like I said, Trubs had a really, probably prophetic point at this point. And that was that, if you think about this, chat, how does Microsoft want to make money now in the video game industry? So they've already tried it with consoles. They've tried to dominate the console market, right? And they failed. They've publicly admitted that they failed. They've said none of their console generations ever outsold Sony. They could never take down the giant, so to speak. So a while back, they started transitioning into a Game Pass-like approach. Now, I've talked about this before. Game Pass has issues because Game Pass kind of needs to perpetually grow. I think I've broken this down for you guys. The logic behind how a service like Game Pass works, and the fact that they're paying out on a sort of like per capita basis to the developers that are part of Game Pass, makes it patently unsustainable unless it continues to grow and gain more subscribers over time. And from all accounts, from everything I've heard, and I haven't gone to actually look, so if someone does have actual numbers, feel free to prove me wrong. But from everything I've heard, Game Pass has kind of stagnated. Like the number of subscriptions are not going up. And the reason for this is because logically, only a percentile of the consumer base will actually like such a service. That is to say, some of them will be vehemently against it. Others will just not find it to have value. And so regardless, not everybody's going to be able to get on Game Pass. So then the third way that they've been trying to do it is games. So you can look at this and you can say, okay, they tried hardware, they tried a subscription service, and now they're trying software. Okay? Now they're trying games. And what I mean when I say this is they're trying to actually wholesale acquire studios, gobble them up, and then force those games to be released in their infrastructure on Game Pass, and, so that they get royalties. That's the real breadwinner in the games industry, is royalties from individual game sales. So Microsoft has said, you know what, we can't beat Sony. What we can do is we can make sure that every game that gets made has a piece of us in it. Interestingly enough, this is actually what Epic is doing. You see, Epic hasn't produced a good game in fucking years. Nobody wants to be on the Epic store. So why is Epic still around? Because Epic owns the Unreal Engine that pretty much now they get just exorbitant license and royalty fees from, because almost every single game is converting to run on that engine nowadays. So Epic is just raking in that end, even though they can't get anything else going on the other end. So you're seeing a similar approach with Microsoft. Microsoft has failed their prior two attempts to a degree, but now they're trying a third attempt. Here's the problem with this, though. They've tried gobbling up these game studios, these publishers, and trying to control the market that way. But what has the effect been of Microsoft owning these things? How many good games has Microsoft produced? Not a lot. I think there's some where maybe the, consumer consensus is not favorable towards a game, but it was still a breadwinner. An example of this would be Call of Duty, right? Things like that, where it's like you can look at it and go like, well, it didn't matter. They still made bank on it. So regardless of things like that, I think you could at least say that Microsoft is having a negative impact on the individual studios that they've purchased, and it's not been a good thing for them in that regard. They've taken a major hit to their brand image. They have absolutely lost on some of these bets, and they're desperately seeking money and the recovery of the funds that they spent to purchase these studios to bail them out. I'm not saying Microsoft's going to go under. I'm saying Microsoft is looking at the Xbox division and going, what the heck are you guys doing? Start making some money or else. What is interesting here is that I think they have their solution, unfortunately. So if it's not working for them in any of these three, but they are, I'm going to say, having at least some success in the games category, why would you increase the price of your games? Wouldn't that hurt your sales, chat? Hear me out. Imagine a world where you can only eat an apple, okay? And I'm going to use this Chick-fil-A barbecue sauce packet as an example of an apple. So you're like, good apple, okay? You can only eat apples. And the price of this apple keeps going up and up and up and up. what do? Well, some people actually do try to steal the apple. Other people sit there and complain and go, this is ridiculous. I'm going to go and eat my old apple rind over there. Like the old core. I'm going to go nibble on that. I can't get a new apple, so I'm going to go eat the old apples again. Some people will still buy the new exorbitantly expensive apple. They will just keep getting hosed. But what if I told you that I will sell you this apple for pennies on the dollar? The only difference is you have to give it back. You can eat it, but you have to give it back. This is a terrible analogy, I'm realizing. That's what licensing is. What licensing is, yes. Chat, think about that for a second. Why would they increase the price of games? CAG gets it. If they can keep increasing the price of games, there are two outcomes in their mind. Now, I'm gonna be real with y'all. They're incorrect. But in their mind, you are either going to pay them $80. Now, if you do, they're successful. They made more money off of you. So their gambit worked. Or what they're thinking is that eventually, even if you become more price intolerant, that you go like, well, fine, but at what point, instead of just buying perpetually $80 games, does not our $15 subscription service have value? That's what they're thinking. That if they can jack up the price, they're going to get a few suckers to pay the new price, but they might also drive more and more people towards the cheaper option that has more consistent revenue. And Trubs joked about this, and I was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, oh my God, no, he's right. Like, I literally double took when he said it. And I was like, no, dude, he's actually right. That is what they're thinking. This is 100% what these dumb fucks would do. This is why they've been so hard up to try to jack up the prices. And I know that's what it is. They want more money, and in increasing the price, they either make more money or drive people towards the cheaper subscription option. That's their mentality. However, y'all know piracy is an option. Not buying it and playing old games is an option. Just literally ignoring them is always an option. But that is what they're trying to do with this. And it's wild and it's stupid. But I do believe that's their entire mentality. They want... You know how we have the term, chat, games as a service? But usually it applies to a genre. They want games as a service for all games. They want complete unsustainability. They want everything to perpetually cost you. And you can see this because even if you go over and you look at like Nintendo, right? Nintendo sitting there and clamping down on emulators and them trying to make it so that you can't play older versions of their games so that they can re-release it to you and resell it to you. That's why. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, right? Some people didn't buy the Oblivion remake because why? You have old Oblivion. It still works perfectly fine. And they're not wrong. But why did so many people go out and buy the Oblivion remake? Because at least to that degree, it was modernized and it was improved graphically. So people did see value in that. But at what point are some of these remasters just a lazy hunk of crap that they slap a full price tag on? And that's where you start going like, that really is all they're about. They just want to be able to keep packaging the same bundle of shit to you and reselling it to you. But then you have to give it back to them and then they sell it to you again. That's all it is. So in a weird way, I think that's why they're A-okay with this. From a consumer standpoint, this just looks like total idiocy. But from a corporate boardroom standpoint, they think they're geniuses. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think it pays. Because I think no matter how much you keep increasing the price of games, the big problem that they have that they cannot control and the reason that this is so much of a big deal, chat, is because of this. Indies are kicking AAA studios' asses right now. Okay? And I'm going to show you why. I literally posted this meme in VIP earlier, but it 100% holds true. This is the problem with the AAA gaming industry. We did it for pennies on the dollar with, 1 in 100 of their devs. And we've doubled their performance and probably doubled their actual profit, right? Well, I say doubled, probably 10 times their profit in that sense because their actual budget was so low. Okay. So when you think about that, you realize this is the power of indies. But you guys need to understand something here. None of this is possible without Steam. And you might be thinking, what do you mean, Cad? Indies release on Sony, they release on Nintendo, they release on, Xbox all the time. Chat, before Amazon, if you wanted to publish your book, you had to go through publishers. And publishers, if they didn't like your idea, could just tell you no. And you could never get your book published. It's the exact same thing with video games. Yeah, all of these publishers now are keen to publish your indie game. Only after they've realized that they can't control it otherwise. So if you can't beat them, join them mentality. So because the publishers don't have a monopoly anymore, because you can just go release your game on Steam, they have to play nice. And the whole reason that they do is because they want their cut. So of course they're going to publish your game now. But if Steam didn't exist, you would have to go through Sony. You would have to go through Microsoft. You would have to go through Nintendo. And if you wanted to put something in your game that they didn't like, too bad, we're not publishing your game. Change it or else. This is the problem. This is why it won't work. Indies are beating the crap out of AAA studios right now. So Microsoft thinks they can drive everyone to Game Pass, but Game Pass already lacks one major point of value. You don't own it. And you never will. So the second you stop paying Microsoft, all of your progress is gone. Second, if you want a not as substantial, but at least a pretty big one in gamers' eyes, is the fact that it's extremely difficult to mod any Game Pass game. Extremely difficult. So at that point, most people don't want to bother with it. They would rather just get the game through Steam and do it that way. So those two things are the big things countering Game Pass right now, and there's really nothing they can do about it because Microsoft has to go through their shitty Microsoft Store architecture, which just doesn't help them, doesn't do them any favors. So they're going to struggle to ever achieve what they want to with Game Pass, no matter how much they try. And chat, to be honest with you, even if you assume somehow that Steam dies out, that Game Pass reigns supreme somehow in some sort of bizarro world in which Microsoft takes over the industry, say Microsoft gets everything they want, that's when the true golden age of piracy begins. That's when literally everybody and their brother will start pirating video games. Because at that point, they will have a functional monopoly. They will set the prices at exorbitant rates that nobody can really afford. And people will just say, enough is enough. So one of two things will occur. Either piracy will run rampant or the industry will outright die. Neither of those two things, I suppose, is what Microsoft wants. But I'll be honest with you, the piracy will prevent them from ever getting a monopoly in the first place. And the interesting part here, as we look at this, is that thank God we have Steam as that alternative to basically be the foil to the greedy practices of these other things. So when you have a Clair Obscur launching for, I think it was $45 actually if you pre-purchased it, but it's $50 at base price now. You have an Oblivion remake at $50, and you have numerous other games that have come out that are priced way more fairly and appropriately. And then you have, you know, Nintendo and Xbox and probably soon Sony jumping up to $80. Chat, we already saw it when they jumped from $60 to $70. When you go up even $10, people start looking at your game with an increasingly scrutinizing eye. So if you want to go up to $80, your game better be perfect. That's all I can say. Actually better be perfect. You think $100 for GTA 6 will push everyone to 100? I'm gonna be real with you. I think some people will try, and GTA 6 may have a legitimate claim to be $100 if it has as much content as they're claiming. That being said, I still think it would make a lot of people back away from GTA if it's priced at that amount. And I'm also going to say this. The big thing that a lot of people keep forgetting is GTA is console only. At least on release. That's going to hurt GTA far more than they realize. Big dumb? Yeah. I think they're counting on you getting it on both console and PC later. Whereas I'm just going to go, hey, that's cool. I'm waiting for it to come to PC. And frankly, if you're going to price it at $100, I will just pirate your game. I don't care. Like, to me, I just don't want to condone anything going to that point. I'm not somebody that's like, I don't think like you should pirate if you have the means to pay for it and you believe that they're providing a good service that's like actually worth the value. But if you at any point feel like it's not, I don't care if you do pirate. Again, piracy is a service issue. So it's like if the company is being scummy as all crap and not actually doing what they need to do, who am I to get on to you for not, wanting to pay for it? They're 100% banking on GTA Online. Yeah, I believe so too. I don't want to give Crunchyroll money. I gave Crunchyroll money for about 2 to 3 years. And the entire time I hated their service. And finally enough was enough and I stopped subscribing to Crunchyroll. They had lost the Funimation animes back then, and that was already a major blow to just how many animes I even wanted to watch on Crunchyroll. And then I literally remember trying to sit down numerous times in a row to watch the latest anime after its release, and their servers couldn't handle the load and had just like basically died. So at that point I was like, all right, I can't even watch the animes I want to watch in their service. Why the fuck am I paying for their service? And I canceled it. And I remember they actually like had a like live assistant like, oh, why are you canceling your order? And I was like, I can't watch anything that I want to watch. I'm like, I can only watch during certain times of the day. Your servers can't handle the load. I'm paying you a subscription and I literally can't use your service. So why the fuck am I paying you a subscription? Your service sucks. Yeah. It was like, it is what it is. Will I do a MASH analysis? I probably will at some point, but I will probably do that one off stream. Because that's a spoiler-ridden one. Oh, you're talking about Good Old Games? Yeah, Good Old Games is great. Hold on, chat. Let me actually get my AP rolling here. Leo, let's go in and let's do a really quick Buster loop. Guardian of Gamers. No, yeah, it's Good Old Games. Good Old Games, Good Old Games is about game preservation and also anti-DRM. So if you don't like things like de novo on your games and you can buy something through like Good Old Games, that means that their version of the game does not have any DRM on it, which is really nice. After Funimation left them, there's no point to using Crunchyroll. Yeah, and it's funny because I believe now it's back, from what I've heard, because both Funimation and Crunchy are now owned by Sony, but it is what it is. DRM is digital rights management, basically anti-piracy software. Offline installers, yep. Yeah, Good Old Games will probably get more popular here. Okay, it's just a 1 out of 1 node. Interesting. And I don't think that's any knock towards Steam. I think Steam is still really pro-consumer, right? But at the end of the day, I think the only reason Steam allows DRM is because I think Steam knows that if they try to actually side with the consumer on that one, on that particular issue, that a bunch of companies will just pull out. Because a bunch of companies fear piracy. And I'm not going to say that they're insane to do so. I think there are legitimate concerns about piracy for certain companies. However, I'm also going to say that I believe the vast majority of people who pirate your game usually couldn't play it otherwise. So to me, at that point, you weren't going to make those sales anyways. Steam needs to end that licensing business model. I do agree with that. That's probably they probably can't do that though. At least like they can't, like anything that's currently on there, they might be able to do it like going forward at some point. That may be one of the things Gaben's actually working on. Oh, what the heck? Why am I getting so many? The YouTube account associated with this video has been terminated. Well, It's only about 5 to 10% of pirates are just dicks. Yeah. However, that number will rise. That number, I'm going to guarantee you that number is going up by the day. Every single scummy move that these publishers keep making, I think, is driving more and more people to a how should I put it? Like, a more idealistically driven form of piracy. So people pirating not because they have to, but people pirating because they want to. Yeah. Which will then lead companies to try to crack down on it, which will then lead people to just find new ways to pirate. I think the idea behind piracy is that at the end of the day, it will always be there. And while you can curtail it some, you can never completely get rid of it. It's the Star Wars analogy. The more you tighten your grip, the more systems will squeeze through your grasp. It's the same thing here. It's like the more they tighten their grip, the more players will actually squeeze through. Wait, did I mess up the charge here? How did this go? I don't know. I can probably cart out the assassin, but I bet the Lancer's gonna live. Just look at Kotaku. Oh, dude, like, it's funny because I think I heard another like news rag for gaming was going down, and I looked at that and I was like, thank God. I'm somebody that I do believe like a good media is healthy for a populace to have. I think it keeps people informed. I think it is an invaluable service, right? Like it's absolutely necessary to have. The problem. Oh, that's why it was only. Wait, no. Did I activate the cooldown one before the charge skill? Maybe that's what I did. I don't know. I didn't pay attention. Finding good media these days is the issue. Yeah, I do want to say this. I know people have their politics and stuff, but I really do mean this when I say this. Almost all conventional media nowadays is bad. They're all agenda driven, all of them. Okay? And if you think they're bad, oh boy, games journalism is the worst. It really, truly is. I'm pretty sure at this point, games journalism just actively takes kickbacks. Like, they straight up push whatever agenda will make them the most money. Whether it be clicks on the article, or it's just straight up a like, yo, I'm being paid to push this narrative. Oh, you didn't pay me? Cool, I'm gonna shit on your game. So it's like no longer. I'm gonna be real with y'all. What games journalism should have done. Games journalism should be about establishing connections with the individual studios and trying to secure interviews and sit downs that they otherwise wouldn't get. Right? Things that like a content creator might not necessarily be able to get. Things that like it's going to be almost like firsthand, first reveals, insider knowledge, that sort of stuff. That's what games journalism should be trying to do. And then there should be an investigative wing of it where they're trying to uncover whether or not the companies are up to no good. And that should be it. I don't need a journalist company to tell me whether or not a game is bad. If you're trying to tell me that a game is bad, I'm going to flat out tell you that that is not your purview as a journalist. Giving me your opinion as a journalist is what is inherently wrong. You're not supposed to give me your opinion. You're not supposed to be biased. Only game journalist I follow is Gene Park. Same, actually. Gene Park's really good. He's really fair to most things, and he's generally positive. So if there is any bias, he's kind of a glazer at times, and I think that's fine. Like, I'd rather somebody be a glazer than to sit there and constantly shit on everything they don't like. A reporter is supposed to report. Yep. The tapped out oil field, yeah, Jay, I remember. How are you doing today, Aaron? Kumanbo, thank you for the follow. Or sorry, Lumenbo. We decided culturally that news has to be profitable. Yeah, I mean, I think like news worked better back when it was like, oh, there's a newspaper and they can just make money every day by printing newspapers. Whereas like nowadays, it's like they want you to like subscribe for their stuff and nobody wants to, nobody cares because frankly speaking, they don't have it. Like you'll sit there and they'll be like, oh, subscribe, we'll get you our insider knowledge. Chat, they don't have any insider knowledge. Literally none. It's knowledge that you can easily get from just watching content creators now. So the fact that they don't seemingly have any connections. And chat, I want you to think about this. Is this because studios have shut down on them? Is this like studios are like clutching their pearls and they're not giving the journalists info? Is that the issue? No. I'm not going to say studios aren't doing that. They absolutely are. But they're doing it because of repeated abuses by the game's journalists. The game's journalists absolutely have breached confidentiality with these studios numerous times just for the sake of getting like some sort of like baity story out. So yeah, they've made their bed. Like the entire reason I think I saw, what was it? There was one game journalist. It was Tom something. I don't freaking remember his name. Is it Tom Henderson? I think it's Tom Henderson. So a while back, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, chat. But a while back, he had a thing where he basically jumped the gun and put out an actually slanderous article about a game in a studio. And when he did that, everyone called him out for it. Everyone. Chat. I used to follow Tom Henderson. When he did that, not only did I unfollow him, I blocked him so that his stuff will no longer appear on my timeline. That's how seriously I took that he was willing to breach NDA just to get stuff out. Just to be able to like do that. I was like, nah, I don't trust this person. This person can't be trusted with info and they will do whatever it takes to drive their clicks and to get money. So nothing that they print can be trusted anymore. Yeah, he basically bit the hand. Does that mean you're not going to buy a Switch because of the price gouge? As of right now, I haven't. I have not tried to go get a pre-order or anything. I've said I'll maybe reevaluate at the holidays, but I'm going to be real with y'all. I still don't think I will. Actually, should I? No, whatever. Anyways, chat, we have to go over Ashoka. That's the thing I've got to do before we actually start story here tonight. So let me get on that. I have to look over his stuff too, chat. Give me 1 minute. Oh, so based off one metric that I'm looking at, the vast majority of the community should not like this character. It's not a problem. People are just hypocrites. That's an interesting way that he did that. Because I put an A? God, why is fandom search feature so shit? I feel like any other search engine would have landed on this. Ahsoka? No. Still can't believe I have that. Still can't believe I have it.
Okay. Is Kat getting the magic Avalon numbers? I was just asking Avalon a question about what he sent me. Just to make sure I didn't tell you guys wrong. Yeah. I think we're good to go. Well, one more time. Let me look through it real quick because I need to make sure I don't say something dumb. Interesting. I didn't realize that the first time around. Nice. Okay. All right. Let's get this party started, chat. Ah. Now we've got a new 4-star AoE Lancer in FGO, which is interesting because we already had plenty of Art's AoE Lancers, even of the 4-star variety, so it's odd that they would add another one to the game. But I think there's at least some decent comparisons here, and King Ashoka is going to be a very interesting unit on multiple levels. If you really want a TLDR of this, you can actually just probably go watch my video a little bit on Ryoma Lancer. They're actually pretty similar units in how they work. King Ashoka is just going to be a, less variety or lesser rarity here, but a unit that maybe has some interesting aspects to his kit that someone like Ryoma doesn't. Now, Ashoka is going to be a story-locked character, which means that you're actually going to have to complete all the way up through Ordeal Call 4 in order to unlock him normally in the story gacha. Most of you guys aren't going to do that. You're either going to roll him on his actual banner or wait for a later raid up. I don't blame anyone for that. But it is interesting that all the way at Ordeal Call 4, we're still getting a story-locked unit. So I think this is actually a good sign. Not that there should have been really any doubt for anyone, but this is definitely a strong sign that there will be a part 3 and that things will be continuing on. Because otherwise, there would be no point to story-locking a unit this late in the game. They would just say, well, whatever, it is what it is. So just in case anybody was having any doubts, I think that is another, yet another piece of evidence that kind of confirms that a part 3 is coming. King Ashoka is going to be another unit that I'm going to say not everybody really needs. He's definitely, as a 4-star, going to be somebody that, you're going to see him just paired on the banners with the 5 stars that he is with. And at that point, people will decide, probably based off the 5 stars, whether or not to roll. So he's just going to kind of be the consolation prize for a lot of people. I do think, though, his design is a really interesting one. I'm not going to speak to anything regarding the story or lore behind him, but I will say, if you haven't already seen his Ascension forms, they're actually pretty nutty. The guy basically is the actual Pillar Man. His sprite is far bigger than it actually normally appears due to the pillar that he carries around all the time. So that's definitely going to be an interesting thing nonetheless. So Pillar Man here is going to be definitely a unit that I think people will like to meme with quite a bit. But let's go ahead and let's dive into his kit and let's talk about his performance. So his attack stat here is at 9.6k. That's nothing too terrible. This is actually a pretty standard amount, I'd say, at this point. We definitely see a lot of units in the 9k range, and that is a good range to be in as a 4-star unit. If you're in the 8k range, we're starting to notice some problems at that point, but at least he is squarely in it. He is 9.6, so he's, on the upper half of it. For his HP value, he's only got 11.7. This might be a concern for him because he doesn't have any survivability whatsoever in his kit, so that's going to be the dangerous thing about him. The good news is he's an arts unit, so as an arts AoE Lancer, we're probably going to be taking units like Castoria, Proto Merlin, you name it, alongside of him, so he's not going to have too difficult of a time, I'd say, of actually staying alive, assuming you're building the party appropriately. But this does mean that his challenge usefulness maybe will come down a little bit, just depending on how you want to treat him or the compositions you want to run him in. He is a man attribute Lancer. He has 90 star absorption, which is lower than his class average by a significant margin. And he does have the star generation of 11.8. Again, he's an arts unit. We maybe don't expect some stellar star performance out of him, so it is what it is. Probably the big concern that a lot of people are going to have is his NP charge attack rate is only 0.4, and we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. His MP charge defense rate is the standard Lancer 4%, so he's actually pretty good there. His death rate is 28%, which is a little bit higher than the average overall for all units, and his alignment is lawful good. Ashoka is also going to be a male-gendered unit. He's going to have the basic traits of Divinity, a group servant, which is interesting, Hominidae servant, normal humanoid, immune to Pigify, the King trait, a normal servant trait, and 7 Knights servant trait, which is the Draco one, as well as being weak to Inima Elish. Overall, looking at his deck, he's a 2B, 2A, 1Q, aka he's double buster, double arts, and a singular quick card. His hit counts are all either average or better, with his 2 that are better being the arts and quick cards, which is definitely a good thing. That will help offset the 0.4 NP gain rate for him some. So in that regard, I think it's probably going to be less of a concern, but still something you'll want to keep your eye on. Moving on to his active skills here, his first one is going to give him Arts and Buster Performance for 3 turns of 20% each. It's not a terribly strong steroid in that regard, but it's better to have something than nothing at this point. He does also increase the party's NP damage for 3 turns by 20%. So this is going to be useful, obviously, for him, but potentially also for somebody else if we're taking him into a multiple damage dealer setup. So that's at least food for thought if you want to try making him not the sole focus of a composition. All of that on a 6-turn cooldown. His second skill here will increase his own attack for 3 turns of 30% and increase his own critical damage for 3 turns of 30%. But probably the real claim to fame here is going to be that it's actually going to allow him to inflict buff block 1 time, 1 turn to an enemy whenever he attacks. And keep in mind, this does not specify normal attacking, which means his NP will also apply this effect. And it will be any time he attacks over 3 turns. So the issue will be, while there isn't a limitation to it other than the 3 turns that this sort of buff will be active, once you put the debuff on the enemy, each stack will only be 1 time, 1 turn. So you can probably multiple stack it, but the issue at play there is going to be that it's just not going to last very long. So if you want to keep an enemy buff sealed, you're going to have to keep reapplying it over that duration. This one, too, is going to be on a 6-turn cooldown. His third skill now here is going to be his charge skill. It's going to be a 30% charge skill at a maximum rank. It's going to gain him critical stars every single turn for 3 turns of up to 15. Definitely going to be useful given, as we talked about, his rather low star generation and star absorption stats. And it's going to increase the party's debuff resistance for 3 turns by 30%. It'll be a little bit harder for them to land any debuffs on your units. He's then also going to increase the party's critical attack chance resistance for 3 turns, which is definitely another interesting one. At least here, this will help protect, given the fact that he doesn't have really any other form of survivability. This is the closest thing that he's going to get, is the debuff resistance and the critical attack chance resistance. So it's not going to be anything that's going to help him survive through a Noble Phantasm in that regard, but I digress. He actually does have something for that too. So let's move on to the passive skills to talk about that. He's got Magic Resistance A for an additional 20% debuff resistance right here. So when he does have his 3rd skill in play, and if it is maxed out, he'll actually have 50% debuff resistance for at least 3 turn duration. So definitely that will make him very difficult to actually land a debuff on. He also has a unique True Name Discernment passive here that increases his own NP damage resistance against servant enemies by 10%. So he will literally just take 10% less NP damage. I'm going to be honest with you. Unless you are running a really high defense comp or a really high debuff comp against an enemy that's going to debuff their NP damage or their attack power, this passive will absolutely do jack crap for you. You are not going to survive a Noble Phantasm with this unless you have other things to stack with it. So that is going to be the issue at play. Nowadays, most of those types of comps are actually a little bit more antiquated. I'm not saying you can't run them. They're certainly still effective, but they definitely are something that is not used very frequently by the player base at this point. They're sort of the old school way and methodology of handling difficult fights. And they do still work, but again, this is not the strongest passive in that regard. It maybe looks a little bit cooler and sounds a little bit cooler than it actually is on in premise. He also is going to have a little bit of divinity here. That's some flat damage added. Nothing too much to write home about, just 175. And now we're going to move on to the append skills. You're probably going to want his mana loading append, and that is a shame because, frankly speaking, he does have a really good set of append skills here. His 3rd append skill is Anti-Berserker, which is definitely a solid one to pick up if you have the spare coins. Obviously, something like the 4th append can be useful to him since he only has the 30% crit damage in his kit, and the 5th append skill will, at least in a challenge environment, let him get back to his skills even faster. The first one, being the extra attack finesse improvement, is at least going to be useful for generating more Noble Phantasm after an NP or something like that. So there is value in each one of the appends that he has. To me, though, the mana loading sticks out as easily the most important, with probably the Berserker one coming in second. So it's just up to you to determine which of these you actually want to get. Looking at his Noble Phantasm, he has a 4-hit AoE Arts NP, and so this is at least another maybe pause for concern. He's not exactly a high hit count Arts unit with regards to a Noble Phantasm, but it is AoE, so this means it's going to be 4 hits against each enemy that he's facing. So in a given 3 enemy wave, you're going to be looking at 12 hits from his Noble Phantasm. He's going to increase his own damage against enemies with the evil alignment by 30%, as well as damage against enemies that are demonic by 30%, each for 1 turn. So 2 power mods that can be stacked together. It is what it is. It's not going to be as strong as a super effective modifier, but it will at least allow you to gain additional power on your carding after your Noble Phantasm. So, well, it will make the Noble Phantasm hit harder. It won't be as good as a super effective modifier would have been, but it has the additional benefit of being able to extend to your cards, since it has the 1-turn duration. Interestingly enough, he also has another unique aspect here, which is that if you are only facing a single enemy instead of, say, 2 or 3 enemies in a wave, if there's only a single enemy on the battlefield that you're facing, he will gain 50% extra NP damage up for 1 turn, activating first before the damage goes out. This is going to be one of the things that makes him unique. You see, Ashoka is going to have the unique capability of handling things like a 3-3-1 wave quite easily, where the final enemies maybe kind of got a lot more health. He will be able to deal even more damage than he would have as an AoE version. So if you do buff stack on him, this will make him at least uniquely capable of handling that type of content. He's from there going to deal damage to all enemies, and his overcharge effect will reduce all enemies' defense for 3 turns, but not activating first. This will be after the damage goes out on the NP. But you can see it's going to be 20% base here for the defense down. It'll scale only up to 40%, so really not that good scaling of an overcharge. But hey, it's better than nothing, and again, if you get to follow it up with cards, even better. So in that regard, Ashoka is a fairly straightforward servant. The big thing that he's going to bring to the table here is his ability to deal more damage to a single enemy, which is kind of random, but hey, it can work depending on your node structure. With regards to craft essences, let's briefly mention that yes, you can Black Grail loop with him. However, you're going to be dependent on the type of node that you're in. So Black Grail is going to be the best one for him due to the sheer firepower that it can provide. But admittedly, you may find yourself in a scenario where you maybe need like a 50% C. Something like Ocean Flyer will be really good for him, given the fact that his all attack scaling has 50% charge, has NP damage and arts up on it. And then if you maybe need to start from 0, but a Black Grail's not quite enough, maybe you're facing a different type of enemy, or maybe there's some Berserkers mixed in. At that point, you can see something like Sign of a Smiling Face really coming through, as it's also all attack scaling, gives arts up, NP damage, and NP gain. So it's really, really good for getting a little bit of extra mileage on the actual refund rate for Ashoka. But keep in mind, there are many other craft essences like Sign of a Smiling Face. It does not have to specifically be this one. Just anything that you can think of where, hey, maybe it doesn't have starting charge, but it does at least increase the looping capability of a unit would be a decent one to help him out should the situation arise. And what would those situations be? Well, let's go ahead and let's talk about the man's actual refund numbers. So on the screen now, you guys should be seeing Ashoka's proper refund numbers, and it is an interesting thing, as you can see we have 3 different layouts here. The first one is 3 enemy waves against basically any enemy class, then 2 enemy wave against any enemy class, and then a 3 enemy wave against specifically Berserkers. Looking at the first one against, just normal conventional classes here, basically with double Castoria as our supports in all of these, we're looking at a 3 enemy wave of just kind of neutral enemies here, being 3 out of 12 refund hits, being approximately 57%. This is why I said that you would be looking at, pretty much a similar scenario to Ryoma Lancer, because Ryoma Lancer was another unit that was out there that was kind of often maligned for not being the best refunder. People said like, oh, he only refunds 50% with a double Castoria. Well, that is true. That's actually not a problem. That's enough for him to Black Grail loop. Similar here with King Ashoka. He's going to have enough to Black Grail loop in this scenario. Now, you can get all the way up to 76% if you could manage to get every hit to be an overkill, but that's highly unlikely. At least with 3 hits of overkill, that's basically meaning that you're killing all 3 enemies. So at that point, that's pretty much about 50 to 60% is going to be what you guys can expect there pretty normally for him. Against 2 enemies, with them being both neutral, this would knock the total hit count of the NP down to only 8 hits instead of 12, since you're facing just the 2. Against basically 2 overkill hits, you're looking at about 38% refund. If you could manage to stretch that to like a nice even 40%, that might help you out a little bit. But either way, this will still definitely be enough to make certain compositions work for him. So it is what it is. If you could manage to get all hits to be overkill, you could get back to 50%, but that's, again, going to be unlikely given this set of circumstances. But who knows, maybe you can face weak enough enemies and buff him enough to actually achieve such numbers. And then looking at the third scenario here, this is going to be the triple Berserker scenario. You guys can actually see at 3 hits out of 12, he's only going to refund about 45%. So this is where that Berserker sort of malice towards NP gain is really shining through and hurting his numbers. you can achieve that 50% breakpoint and only 5 out of 12 overkill hits. That's a reasonably, doable number. Even if you consider, like, say, a triple enemy wave where maybe one of the enemies is a high health enemy, it means the other two are not high health. So that's basically not just killing them, but maybe getting like one more hit of overkill on them, which I think is a pretty achievable thing to do. So I think this is definitely something that's possible, but it may be a little bit more refund dependent, maybe a little bit node dependent. So just pay attention to that as you're using him, depending on the loadout that you seek to actually try. So from there, let's go ahead, let's talk about those actual charge scenarios. And now on screen, you guys can see the 4 sort of node breakdowns that we've managed to do for Ashoka. The first one is going to be that 3-3X type of node with a neutral set of enemies. We're going to start out Ashoka with double Castoria and Oberon as the supports. He's going to start out with a maxed out mana loading append, but no craft essence. So at 20% charge there, he's going to pop his own NP gain to bring him up to 50%. We're going to use all of one Castoria's skills on him, and then probably rotate for Oberon at that point. Use the other Castoria's arts up at least, and that should be enough for 100%. Fire off the NP. He'll refund about 46%. Nothing too crazy there. But this will allow you now on turn 2 to use the remaining Castoria skills plus Oberon's 20% charge, and then fire off the NP a second time, and that should actually refund you about 57% that time. So on wave 3, you can just go ahead, use Oberon's 50% charge skill and his third skill, pop the Mystic Code attack buff, and basically go to town, as that will complete your 3-turn loop. The next charge scenario that we have here is a 2-1X neutral node. This is actually still doable as long as you use a 50% C. So again, something like Ocean Flyer maybe can manage to make do. Going to be double Castoria and Oberon for your composition here. No append necessary though, at least at this point. So we're going to go ahead, start out with the 50% C, then use Ashoka's 30% charge skill here. It's going to bring him up to 80%. Going to use at least 2 of one of the Castoria skills there, the arts up and the NP gain on him. Go ahead and use the arts up from the other Castoria, and then fire off the NP for the first time. That's going to bring him back to about 30% refund there. So on turn 2, you're going to go ahead and use the remaining Castoria skill, rotate her out, bring in Oberon. Go ahead and use the second Castoria's NP gain skill and use Oberon's first skill, and that should actually bring him up to full at that point. Fire off the NP a second time, and then as we end up in wave 3, he's only going to have refunded about 19% against that single enemy wave, though he should have had a lot of extra damage due to the way that his NP works against single enemies. So from there, you're going to go ahead and basically do the remaining Castoria skill and the remaining Oberon skills, pop your Mystic Code, and that should be enough to finish the final wave. The third scenario that we're going to be going over here is a 3-3X neutral node, but we're going to start out with a 50% C. However, in the process, we're going to basically be able to get away with 3 different supports, at least one of which is welfare, and the other one is a very easily acquirable one if you manage to get him with the SSR ticket. So starting out with something like Ocean Flyer here, we're going to go ahead and pop Ashoka's 30% skill, and then basically use Castoria's second and third skills on him to bring him up to full. You'll also want to make sure you use Shu Fu's arts up and NP gain up. Just don't use her charge skill. And then from there, fire off the NP. Ashoka should refund about 50% there. Go ahead, use the remaining Castoria skill on turn 2 here. And then rotate her out, bring in Waver, and go ahead and use Waver's 10% charge skills here to bring him up to full. From there, fire off the NP one more time, and you should end up in wave 3. He'll have refunded 50% again. Go ahead, use the remaining Shu Fu charge skill, use obviously Waver's 30% charge skill, pop your Mystic Code buff, and there you go. That's your 3-turn loop right there. And for the next to last scenario, we have a 2-3X Berserker node here. This is going to be involving Sign of a Smiling Face or other similar craft essences, starting at a 0% charge, but at least managing to make do with at least somewhat of extra NP gain over something like Black Grail. So from here, we are going to start him out with a maxed out mana loading append. You're going to go ahead and pop his 30% charge skill turn 1. That's going to bring him up to 50%. We're going to be using double Castoria Oberon here. So you're going to use one of the Castoria's 50% charge skills. Or sorry, all of the Castoria's charge skills on him. And then rotate that Castoria for the other Oberon. Use the second Castoria's arts up at least. He should be at full. Fire off the NP here. He'll refund about 30%. And should be able to now on turn 2 use all the remaining Castoria skills on him, plus Oberon's 20%, fire off the NP one more time, and that should allow him to get about 53% refund here. Then go ahead, use Oberon's third skill and his second skill, fire off the NP a final time. And then last but not least, this is a 3/3x neutral node. We are going to require a little bit more overkill here, but this is going to be a double support setup with a 50% CE. So in this scenario, we are going to have a maxed out mana loading. We're going to be using Ocean Flyer. So this could start us out at 70% charge. We're going to pop Ashoka's 30% charge skill himself to bring him up to full. Utilize both Castoria art skills on him. And then the third skill from our Fragment of 2004 Mystic Code that we'll be using here. That will grant him enough refund at least. So from there, he's going to fire off the NP. He'll refund about 55%. We'll use all of one Castoria's skills to bring him up to full and fire the NP again. And then in the third wave, we'll refund about 50% again, and then utilize the remaining Castoria skills plus the Mystic Code attack buff in order to allow him to pop off as much as possible there. So you can see there's a bunch of various different scenarios that he can work in as the devoted damage dealer. You can still manage to use him as a multi-like DPS type of option for you, because he does at least have some supportive capacity in his composition, but the choice is yours for how you want to go about it. Taking a look at Ashoka's damage numbers here now, these are going to be his neutral numbers without any supports. This is just Ashoka under his own power. His pillar kind of coming down here and doing some solid damage. As you guys can see, he's going to scale from about 22k roughly at NP1 all the way up to 36k at NP5. And then we do have the demonic evil niches that he has in play, as well as the ability to have both simultaneously, resulting in much higher numbers. But then on the right side over here, these are going to be the numbers where if the enemy he was facing was the only enemy on the field, and you can see just the sheer impact it has. Remember, it's 50% extra NP damage up. It can definitely be doubled up with someone the likes of Oberon. Now, though, that sort of scaling is not going to be here, but you are going to see at least just the 50% NP damage up that he has, and just the sheer amount of difference that that's going to make compared to his AoE numbers. So yes, his single target numbers will be stronger, but this doesn't make him a single target NP. It just means he's going to basically have the capacity to deal more damage without having to switch his NP type. And it's definitely interesting to see the scalability there. So now let's go ahead and look at Ashoka's proper numbers in an actual composition. This is going to be 2 times Castoria Oberon with a level 100 Black Grail. This is going to require things, certain assumptions like, hey, you're going up against at least neutral refunding enemies, preferably archers for something like him. And then as we look at this, you guys can see NP1 here. We basically plotted out the numbers for you guys as if everything's AoE. But we did, for at least the wave 3 numbers, include in parentheses here the single target numbers if it was just a single enemy in that wave. So you can see he's going to be around the 237k mark there for AoE. It's definitely not bad, especially as we compare this to some of the other Lancers that are out there. And this is without either of his power bonds. But then his single target numbers are going to be almost a whopping 300k. And remember, while these do include external buffs from things like the Mystic Codes, the Craft Essences, and the support units, these are still neutral, non-effective numbers. So definitely pretty solid there at that point. As we start to look towards the power mods, you can see again the possibility for one power mod is going to scale that at least somewhat. Remember, it is only a 30% power mod, not something like a 50% or a 100%. So not the strongest here, but at least if we get double, if we get that, that'll be about 60% worth of power modifiers. And there, at that point, you can see some really, really nice scaling. NP2 definitely going to improve the numbers for Ashoka, and NP5 going to improve them even more. So really a decent damaging alternative if you didn't already have a well-established AoE Arts Lancer for you. On screen now, you guys can see, for comparison's sake, Summer Melt. She's another limited 4-star AoE summer unit. She is also a Lancer. So in that regard, she's only going to be dealing about 229k at NP1. She definitely scales nicely all the way up to NP5. So compared to someone like Ashoka, she is going to at least be able to kind of keep pace with them. However, Ashoka is going to have the power mods that she's not going to have, and that is really going to allow him to pull ahead again. So that is just going to be one of the issues that someone like Melt's going to face. But to be fair, Melt really hasn't received any attention since her initial release. Another easy comparison here is going to be someone like Percival. He kind of just is what he is right out of the gate. Percival's always had a pretty strong kit for both just even farming and looping, but also, you know, just tank ability and challenge content. So Percival is definitely a competitor to him. But you can see Percival's only going to be doing about 221k there at NP1. Definitely scales nicely as well. But again, the lack of any sort of niche for damage is going to be what hurts him. Then next up here, we're going to have Vritra, and Vritra is definitely somebody that I think at this point could absolutely use the upgrade. She is a 5-star, but you can see she's only going to come in really at about 251k, so still more than the 4 stars here, but not by a very wide margin. Where she is really going to pull ahead as if it's a divine niche, but keep in mind you do still have the power mods on Ashoka that can help mitigate some of this stuff. And last but not least, at least for the arts units, we're going to compare to Ryoma Lancer, who, as you guys can see, has had a nice new upgrade for himself, and this has made his damage numbers a lot more passable. So in this regard, comparing to someone like Ashoka, Ashoka looks really left behind. But this is, again, I'm going to call it the Melisande effect, where a lot of Lancers are trying to catch up to her, particularly in the 5-star variety. So you guys can see 5-star units beginning to pull ahead. It's one of the reasons that Vritra really needs some attention. And in that regard, the 4-star units may soon follow after them. We'll just have to wait and see, or some of them may get it before he does. So it is what it is, but it is an interesting thing to see. Just for comparison's sake here, again, it is the elephant in the room. And whenever we're talking about an AoE Lancer, really just Lancers in general, we got to talk about Mel. The Mel's numbers here at NP1, 440k. And if we do happen to have Man Niche for Koyanskaya, 600k. So Mel's still just doing really, really solid damage. And that's going to be one of the big reasons that you're just not going to need someone like Ashoka. But that doesn't mean he can't be a fun unit to use or can't be used effectively. Maybe you just really like the idea of an arts AoE Lancer. Maybe you like the idea of somebody that can, you know, get a little bit more bang for their buck against a single target enemy if we do happen to have a oddly structured node. But I think the choice is still ultimately up to you, and it depends on which banners you're going to roll in the first place. So, how do you guys feel about the new Pillar Man being added to the game? Which Ascension is your favorite? And again, I hope you guys are enjoying Ordeal Call 4. No spoilers, please, but let me know how at least you're enjoying it in the comments below. I'll be curious to hear you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys for the next one. Later. That was a long one. I had way too many comparisons for Ashoka. This is the problem with, like, Lancers. There's so many people you need to compare to at this point. In the same way, like, Archers have that same problem, too. Ugh. Might as well be walking on the sun. Another Arts Lancer for the pile. Yeah, like, I don't think he's bad. I think his refund numbers struggle is one of the issues. Certainly serviceable in the same way that Ryoma is. But I would have thought they would have learned their lesson at this point that, like, whenever they make a arts unit that refunds like 50%, naturally the community starts calling them bad. 50-50 odds comments have multiple. I liked it when blank did blank after blank and the blank. Yeah. Struggling in P region in this economy, right? But yeah, I think like at this point, it doesn't make the unit bad, but the devs at least have to do a good job of trying to combat the like stigma that it has within the community. Community perception is a thing that's driving a lot of player choice at this point. So I think one of the easiest ways to do it is like kind of how they did Ryoma now, where it's like, oh, he refunds 50%, but look at that freaking damage. His damage is so nice that he's basically just going to like slaughter enemies. Yeah, I think that's where his real claim to fame is going to be. And I think it'll also be nice given the fact that he basically can do AoE and single target without actually switching his NP. So it's sort of like smart NP switching. It just sits there and goes, oh, is that just one enemy? Okay, cool. I do more damage. If it's not a 3-button comp, it's bad. Damn. Every single one of the Lotto comps is bad, Avalon. Did you hear that? Sometimes I think devs try to design Lancers while attempting to ignore Mella's existence. Yeah, and they can't. And the reason that they can't, the community won't let them. Why won't the community let them? Because Mellison exists. And the community already has Mellison. So the community is just going to go, oh, it's not better than Mellison, so I'm not rolling. And it is what it is, right? Like, I think that's just, whether or not I agree with that mentality that the community has, it is the mentality that the community has. So no amount of, like, my opinion is going to matter in that regard. So at that point, the devs are kind of foolish to try to pretend like some of these broken units don't exist. It's on them. They're the ones that designed it in the first place. Like, chat, it's not on you. It's not on you to be like, oh man, should I be a good guy and roll multiple characters and not roll the super effective unit that they made for this one class that dominates the rest of the class? No, if they're going to put that in the game, you should roll for it. And then you should actively ignore the other units that they keep putting out at that point. It's their fault. And if the devs want you to roll for other units, they can make them better. They can make them competitive. That's really the choice. And that's why I said, like, Mellison has been a problem for years since she released, and will continue to haunt them until they buff all of the other Lancers to basically be better than her. There's nothing they can do about it other than that. Like, they can release a new Lancer that's even better than Mellison, but all it does is just change where the problem exists. So one day they'll fix single target archers. Who? Is that a class? Well, it's 6 slot and only 4 NPs. It's slow and lots of buttons. Yeah, I mean, doing 90++ just is slow and lots of buttons, right? Unless you're talking about doing the 90+. What do you mean? Bao is great. Yeah. Like I said, I don't make any reservations as to like people liking Mellison or people choosing to devote their time to one unit. I completely understand why people do. And the devs only have themselves to blame for designing the game in such a way. Do I hear an MHXA buff? Yes. All right, chat. We're going in. We're doing Ordeal Call 4. However, y'all know how I do Ordeal Call. Or rather, just how I do story content on JP in general. I will go through all of the nodes. But I will not read the story. We will skip every cutscene. If there's an unskippable, by the way, chat, let me know. Definitely help me out. No backseating unless he asks for it. Pretty much. Skip call 4. Yep. I wanted everybody in chat to understand that, like, I go as spoiler light as possible, but some spoilers are inevitable as I play through this. If you don't like that, feel free to tune out. Leave me a lurk. Doesn't bother me. I completely understand. Got to earn that ruler class score? Yep. There's a lot of stuff locked behind this that I have to cover. So it's one of the other reasons I need to get through this. Okay. I don't know if there's going to be a cutscene here or not. Does chat want sound? Like, I can turn song request off, but remember, you're not going to get anything, so. Yes? Okay. I'm not sure if there is no sound right now, or it's just... Damn. Straight to court. Just... Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just go straight to court, chat. Is sound still delayed? I don't believe so, but it may happen. I keep defaulting teams to Neo plug suit out of habit. So do I. It's actually kind of the meta thing to do. Okay, facing a question mark. Chat, my first question to you. Is there a ruler-specific gimmick where I have to take a ruler in this one at all times? No, but you should? I don't know what that means. Am I getting forced to... okay. Yeah. You can scream at me all you want. She just wasn't in because I didn't get the opportunity to. Fafo? Perhaps. Oh no, I tripped and fell and threw on my MLB Black Gray. It feels so good. I can't describe to you how good that feels, chat. No Saberface challenge? Probably not on JP going in blind. Yeah, like... JP going in blind. I'm not saying I couldn't do it at this point on JP, but it would definitely be difficult. Because I just don't have the NP levels and such. Alright, let's see. I'm stuck with an MLB Black Grail, yes. Good, it's a good kind of stuck. Oh, and Pokeepsy, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate it, my dude. Chat, can we get some love? I'm vibing to this. Feels like there's some urgency to it, and then the choral background is really nice. Because it's, you know, church, right?
Okay, so we are definitely on trial because you can see this is like the actual like stand where a defendant stands. I can't see. There's a podium here, but there may also be one back here. Nice, Starhawk. Have we reached the point where we're fighting God? No. But we're getting there. I want to take MASH. I have no idea what that specific trait is. Really, either of those traits. I assume the top one is just like damage up, probably for divinity. But I don't know what the second one is. And I'm worried.
Hi, NFF サービスです。もちろんお望みのままに。ええ、そのように。失礼、こちらの話です。
この辺りいじった方がいいんじゃないか?
Which cooldown skill do I want to activate first? Think that.
イノベーション始めます。
君の道行きを信じよう。さあ、行きなさい。
やだ。
I really like this music.
ひたすら面倒。あ、でもこれで全滅してくれれば結構楽。ユニベールイモルテルメタトロン。さようなら。
That was still really good damage, given that it was neutral. Just shy. Back up and crit damage up. Is it stacking them? Oh god, that is... I see what's going on here. We have a Spriggan scenario. I put my Jontron in A3. Nice. Yeah, I was showing chat A2 yesterday, so I haven't like changed it as why. Ooh, spicy. Bro's attacks kind of be hurting. Gonna heal the meme lord. We're gonna keep trying to crit him down. Unfortunately, I'm gonna lose my buster buffs here. Damn, just crit to all hell and back. I'm gonna assume they're not man traded. Probably sky traded if I had to guess. Oh, listen, I had to see it, so chat has to see it too. Yeah, that's fine, Cal. Oh, she's finally button 5 for me. Oh, yes. New materials.
Why do I get the feeling that that's like holy water or something, chat?
Master, クラススコアの解放は進んでいますか？クラススコアを解放することで各クラスのサーバントを強化することやマスターが霊視を使用した際にサーバントの能力を強化することもできます。今後の任務に備えて確認しておきましょう。
Oh, that's not good. She just told us a crap ton about class score. Dialogue choice with fight effects. Okay, I'll just pick whatever the first one is.
優れたマス
Bottom choice is an NPC helper available. Damn. Why would you tell me that? So wait, chat, is this like... Is it the gimmick like in Ordeal Call 2, where if I don't take a ruler, I just don't deal very much damage, but if I take a ruler, it'll deal damage regardless? It's 100% damage up with ruler. Okay. Just bonus damage for rulers. I mean, honestly, that's fine. That's probably better than the way Ordeal Call 2 handled it, because Ordeal Call 2 just forced you to take Avengers quite a bit. So I think that's nice that they did it this way instead. Okay. You're gonna do it to me again. Excellent. Well, you know what? Ruler on ruler violence. That's right. Ordeal Call 2 is the oddball, yeah. I have to wait for this shit for 2 years? Yeah, that's fine. Nine enemies. Oh. Oh, I see, huh? I see. Aw. You know what? Let's leave MASH in for right now. Let's see what this does.
寝るやる気出ない。そのようにイノベーション始めます。そのように。失礼。こちらの話です。バンカーボルトリロード。被弾確率収束。めんどい。時短両時短装填済みです。
Game audio is delayed. Yeah, it is a little. I mean, sound effects are off anyway, so all you're hearing is voice lines and music. Man, we're getting a crap ton of stars out of this right now. Yada. She sounds so unenthusiastic. I actually wish her noble phantasm form was one of her ascensions. Oh, crap. Yeah, they definitely amped the damage on these things. MASH doesn't have anything there.
Is he gonna AoE? He didn't. Interesting. Gonna go with the star generation here. She very likely crits anyways. Biblically accurate fidget spinners? Yes. Because the attack animations, yeah. Well, I think they still want you to roll for units. Okay? They don't want to scare you off. I don't know what the ring effect on MASH is. Is it just she gets her cooldowns back faster, chat? Yeah, it's gotta be. She's getting them back way faster. Actually, to a degree, it feels like everybody is. The first icon, yeah. Party cooldown reduction? Yeah, I think it may be, which is really funny. I mean, one's clearly attack up, the other stars per turn. There's some sort of delayed effect. And you can see it's like no effect there, so it may be like a cleanse or something, I don't know. So we just needed a bar pop there. Fandom doesn't have anything. Fandom won't have anything on this for like 2 more days. So is it Black Barrel? Is Mash's Buster up now? Because you're getting Habitrot in the Buster Up is what it's saying. I'm just not sure what the effect is other than like, it looks like it gives some sort of additional damage proc. But I'm not sure. I can't glean anything from the kanji. Yeah, my only question is what the buffs are. More damage to rulers? Okay, interesting. Oh boy, we're facing rulers. Shocking, I know. You know what, chat? At this point, we're going with the ruler team. Why don't we do it like this? Let Bunny have Involved Pierce, because I know Jontron has it. spamming Lohi for most fights and use rulers here and there? Yeah, you definitely could.
ポートシステム40%カット。運動性問題ありません。
Interesting.
おつらい。寝る。バニーの力をお見せしよう。よしよし、いい子だ。だるい。
Oh, it's just the 3.
ならそのように。これこそは我が高機動型大広間。
I just brought Smell and Luby in every fight. Yeah, it's when you have 100% damage bonus, you're really heavily incentivized to just take rulers. Rulers are also just tanky in general, anyways.
よしよし、いい子だ。状況終了。
Bring Karen? Oh, I would absolutely bring Karen if I had Karen. I don't on my my JP. My NA does. All right, 2. Chat, we just need like 45 more. The John Gamer headset? Yeah, that'd actually be kind of funny. Although it'd also probably be uncomfortable as all get out. If they did, right? Wait. Berserker? This is a ruler ordeal call. What is this crap? Delta will be used a ton here when the Saberface only run arrives. No. No, Saberfaces have rulers, so... Oh my god! Who could that Pokemon be? Anyways. Of course. Then all the cards are MASH. It was non-effective. Already paying off that I managed to put the Invuln Pierce on Buntoria. Get out of here, MASH cards. You don't need your kind round here. Alright, buddy, go! Bunny ready to roll over this whole thing? Pretty much. Interesting. You fool, you've activated my trap card. And by trap card, I mean you've literally powered Jontron to an NP. Yada. Miss Scissorhands? Yes. Really long day tomorrow? Oof. Yeah, get your sleep. Have a good one, Katana. The scissor bitch from a comic got killed. Yes. Another Berserker to my Berserker collection, I see? Yes, Dirty. You can get another Berserker. What if Karen loans you money to make bail? Oh, almost, chat. I don't know. Okay, so this is the unskippable, right? Sorry, I'm just pulling the plug on the capture card so that chat doesn't get to see it. God, that was loud. New silver mat look like a jellyfish? It kind of does to a degree. He's hitting a saber face again? No. So this is why chat wanted me to pick the second option. I see. Just to be on the safe side. Maybe put a foreigner or two back here. Never know. Can I see your catch card? I don't know what that means. Charm. If I remember correctly, she has super effective... Well, never mind. Not going to say anything. Quicken Hearts and... I can't read that third effect. I don't remember what it is. Is it Evasion? Well, let's see, actually. Yep. 2 times 3 turns Evasion. Invuln Pierce. NP Charge? And 3 turns of something. 3 turns of debuff resist down. Okay. Well, unfortunately for them, they're all dead. Too much yapping? Yep. Got back from work not long ago. Oh, day could have been better, but it wasn't a terrible, terrible day. Oh, my capture card? You want to see my capture card? I don't even think I can show it to you. I'd have to unplug it. You know what? Let's have a little bit of fun with this. I don't think there's any reason to rush this node. Interesting animations. He also notably does not have damage bonus here. And at least based off the fact she's level 90, she looks like she's 5-star, so yeah, her damage is not bad. We're finally... Actually, yeah, that makes sense. Well, she'll already be different from MHXA just due to the fact that she has charge. Is she single target? As of right now, supposedly, yes. Is this just talking about rulers getting extra damage? Well, hold up. They tried to sneak that one in here. That's not just extra damage. That's extra damage and debuff immunity. That's worth its weight in gold. That means take ruler, no get messed up. Ah! Mr. Ventos! Welcome in. You came at the perfect time. Because I am not in a node. This is like the perfect screen to not spoil you. If you had come in at like any other moment, you would have gotten some spoilers. So I will sit here for a minute. How was your stream, bud? What were you guys up to today? Been a hot minute. Hope you're doing great. I am. I mean, actually, interesting enough, like real life could be going a lot better for me right now. But yeah, I'm doing fine. Did the super difficulty quest on today? Yes, super difficulty. How'd you like them? I tried to. I have a video in the works right now, but I tried to do them in like the worst possible way because they were just like there was no way to actually mess some of them up, unfortunately, because of how like the gimmicks were just so narrow. But they were certainly not difficult if you just followed what the gimmick was. And chat, if you guys have never watched Mr. Ventos, go do so. He's an excellent FGO streamer. Little gimmicky, yeah. In the tedium of the Lotto grind, yeah. No, I didn't mind him. I know some people are like, oh man, I really want like the harder challenge fights back and stuff, and I'm like, I mean, like, honestly, in a Lotto, I want to have the time to farm, so it's like, I'd prefer if there were none, but like, if they're gonna do some, at least they did something like this where it didn't feel like it wasn't like some ball-busting challenge fight that's going to make people fail over and over again and require them to like waste all their time on it. So I feel like it's like at least that it's like they went with just a more like gimmicky fight, and I was like, yeah, I think it's fine. Thank you for the 15. Appreciate it, Ventos. The actual CQ is annoying. Yeah, I still have to do the actual CQ myself. I don't have to sit for 3 hours bashing my head against the wall when I could be grinding Lotto. Exactly. And I've said this before too, because I think a lot of people think it's like, oh, well, that just means you don't like challenge fights. And I'm like, no, I'm like, they need to just do, like, honestly, they need to do something like the Dante Tower event, right? Like from like back in the day, where we just got like a slew of challenge fights, but it was its own self-contained event, and it just, like, it wasn't happening during other things. So it's like you actually had the time to sit down and have some fun with it, rather than like, oh man, I've got all these other things I need to be doing. It's like, to me, the combination of CQs and a Lotto is a bad combination. They should just give them each their own time. I've added quite a few good new squares to the bingo board. Oh, definitely. I'd definitely be down to do it again. Just hit me up. We can definitely try to schedule something. If they did the first 2 weeks where the Lotto and the third week is a challenge event thing. The first 2 weeks were the Lotto and the third week was a challenge event thing. The only thing I don't like about that is that, like, people would be trying to, like, roll out boxes. So it's like, I'd almost rather they did it like before the Lotto, but in the same regards, like, people would be trying to get set up for the Lotto. So they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. But yeah, I'm down for like either of those options if they wanted to do something like that. I think separating the two is a good idea. And I think, honestly, I think the whole reason they put like CQs in the middle of the Lotto was to try to like actually restrict the amount of time people could spend on the Lotto originally, but then we got so efficient at grinding and doing things that it just didn't really matter. I'd take that over having them simultaneously. Yeah, I probably would too.
the Grail Front and Lotto is okay in my book. Grail Front was fine. Grail Front actually takes up more time, I think, than people realize, but it really doesn't like you don't have to sit down and plan anything too much. Let me use a lot of servants I've had great fun with. Yeah, I think it actually helped that the 90 plus was like a lot better for this time around. So like it was good because people didn't have to grind the plus plus. So it just allowed people to like get away with the easier compositions if they wanted, or like, you know, oh, I'm gonna do a plug suitless comp. I'm just gonna like try to minimalize it. So it really does. It allows people to like get out and like use different units that they don't normally. Like I had a comp this time around where it was like it was on round 2. It was the round 2 90 plus. I was using Eliza, Ozzy, and Lalter, and that was my comp, and I just went down the line doing the buffs and just like blazed right through the node. It was great. It doesn't feel like time wasting with the Grail Front. Yeah, I can see that. I do think like some people don't like the Grail Front, so it really depends. I think like Grail Front's not going to feel like time wasted because you have fun with it, but if you're not somebody that has fun with it, it will feel like it. One of my favorite events they've ever done. Yeah, I liked it too, Czar. I like, in a weird way, it's seeming like Grail Fronts are apparently like a major burden on the developers, which is weird because it does seem like the community's pretty positive on them and likes them. So I'm not sure why they've done it this way, but like I would definitely be down for more Grail Fronts. It just seems like the devs don't want to do it. Gonna head out and let you get back. Thank you, appreciate it, my dude. And again, guys, if you haven't checked out Ventos, go do so. Thank you again for the raid and welcome everybody. For those of you guys that don't mind it, I am doing Ordeal Call 4 right now. We just started. We're in like chapter 2, so I always do story on JP without actually reading any of the story, so I skip through all the cutscenes. So you guys get to see the fights, but you don't get any actual context for it. I leave the choice up to you. If you wish to continue, feel free to settle in, grab a snack, get situated, but otherwise we're going to continue on here. So you've been warned, spoiler time potentially happening here. Girlfriend was not frustrating in a lot of... Yeah, I think it's just, it really boils down to like whether or not you find the content engaging and fun. Because that's the same way where like people think that like, oh, CQs and a Lotto are fine because I hate grinding, right? Like, so it is what it is. Whew. Wasn't ready to skip, actually. Do you think the 4th and the 5th pin skills will arrive ahead of time in an A? No, probably not. The only way they could is if they probably... Because like... Hear me out on this. I don't think they're going to launch the 4th and the 5th pin skills on an A without simultaneously launching the fixes that they already implemented on JP, because of how much of a source of like frustration and like rage they were when they released on JP. So I think you'll either get them all at the same time, or if they're going to do it early, you'll still get them at the same time. So it's like you'll either get it when it's supposed to or early, but they're going to have to do them all at the same time. And because I think they're going to have to do them all at the same time, I don't really see you getting it early. I think that at that point it'd be a lot of extra work that the JP devs would have to do. I'm not going to say they can't. I'm just going to say my money is against it at the current point, and we'll just have to see. Wait, why are soul eaters? Oh boy. That's interesting connotations, actually. You'll get him when we're supposed to, saves them the hassle. Right. Who's going to Anime Expo 2025? That I don't know. Maestro might be going. I know Maestro told me last night he's apparently going to be going to FGO Fest, so 10th Annie. Like, that's going to be wild. So we will have somebody actually on site for that. Me, because I live 30 minutes away, you just doxed yourself. It will not be good if they try to copy JP exactly. I think the NA community would go completely psycho. Yeah, I think you'll see they'll just bring the quality of life fixes at the same time as the 4th and the 5th append system so that nobody gets angry. On-site correspondent? Yes, true journalism, chat. True journalism. None of this, like, shabby games journalism. Oh, wait, we're already on chapter 3. This is zooming by. And this is Berserker again. We're gonna be fighting our girl? Well, we'll see. I'm probably just gonna keep loading out this comp until the game just, like, throws something actually difficult at me. See an Archer Emiya cosplayer? That'll be me. Nice. Nope, just random boars. What a bore. Mendoi. You know what? I probably should have shuffled that before, but whatever. This is just a 1 out of 1. Screw it. Well, I can get more Star Bomb this way. Let's do this. Wajoom! Hello, Peaceful. It's possible since we did get the John Sisters animation update early. Yeah, it's not like it's impossible for them to do. It's just a lot of work, and it was an anniversary update, so I suspect you won't get it early. But who knows, right? Like, it's definitely been some of those things where it's like there have been updates that I almost never would have expected us to get early, and they brought it. So it's why I won't say it's like, oh, it's impossible. My money is that they probably won't do it. Because that way, by delaying it and leaving it for the actual anniversary it's intended for, they don't have to, like, muck too much with the actual, like, how do I put it? Like, the actual, like, buffs and stuff and order. They'll actually give the rewards as they're due. Really weird structure to these things. Since they were tied to Ordeal Call 2. They weren't really tied to it. Like, something coming out at a time doesn't necessarily mean that it, like, what? Ho ho ho. Oh, come on. What? You do both regardless? Oh, okay. I was going to say, it's like, if this is a pick one, who the heck would pick this one? Like, of course you're going to take the new material. I was like, that's just stupid of them. But yeah, I thought it was, like, actually going to be a choice, which, honestly, that would be wild if they actually started giving you true choice. I feel like that would be a really, really awesome thing for the devs to do moving forward. But I know there's a ton of work involved with that. And so I don't think they would. All right, 10 enemies. Don't mind if I do.
Or do you call 2 music for the animation update trailer? Yeah, that I do remember, and people are like, what the heck? Clock Tower and Arctic MC? Nice. The illusion of choice. CYOA, yes. Okay, so then I'm gonna NP here. There's only gonna be 4 enemies left. I'm more worried about whatever the final enemy is if I do it that way. But I have an entire arts chain here. And that is, like, spicy good. So we're gonna do it like this instead. We're gonna try to get Bunny back to an NP. This way, if there is like a break bar enemy at the end, I'm prepared a little bit better. Gonna do it like that. That way she actually gets enough charge. Angel enemies are cool. I actually really like the design so far. Like I said, the music to me is where they've outdone themselves. I love variations on the original main theme. And the fact that they went like more choral with this one is really nice. It's just okay. Be what it be, send it. We'll have animations mid-battle. I mean, if it happens, it happens. Like, especially if it's like, if it's something that it's like, oh, it's germane to the fight itself, it is what it is. I don't think that's a problem. Like, kind of, if chat remembers the Barghest animation at like the early part of Lost Belt 6, it's like, oh, well, you were already fighting that to begin with. Is that an idea, or is that just something you really want, Curb? All 7 classes with the new skill tree? You talking about the class score? Oh no, I'm out of stamina. See, chat. This is why the devs can't make me run out of apples anymore. These numbers have just been going up over time. We can make it happen. Yeah. Oh, you could definitely upgrade them all. The issue at play here is that, like, I don't think you can physically have gathered enough Stardust yet. But given the fact that we already had a campaign just recently here that put Stardust into our mailbox, aka you got Stardust for not doing anything, that tells me that they're going to start giving it out so that people can actually complete it. Which you guys got to remember, the entire reason class score even exists in the game. It exists to the reason to give players something to do. It is another treadmill for the player to have to traverse. So them giving you a way to complete it faster means that they have another treadmill ready. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. They really want you to finish this treadmill because they're deeming it important for story at this point. Well, this is hilarious again. Send it!
Flapples are a blessing and a curse. They really are. Like, I'm probably gonna make a video on it soon. One of the ideas that I have for a video at this point is like just how easy it is to actually acquire maps, because it really is. Like, I don't think chat's actually like sat down and thought about it at this point, but the sheer amount of mats you're getting for free for not doing much, right? Like, it's not like, oh, hey, I'm having to go sit on a free quest. No, it's like just materials that you're actually being given. Case in point, right? Like, it's gotten really, really, really good, and I think it's too good. Don't get me wrong, right? Like, for us as the player, who are we to complain? But I think it's like the devs have shot themselves in the foot effectively by doing this. Oh my god, it's actual classes. It's a cavalry triangle. What other treadmill could they do? Grand system. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's probably the grand system, given how much they're hyping it. The problem they're going to have with that one is, like, again, you can't really make people get into it because it requires people to have units grailed. So that inherently is just going to be a problem. Oops, she killed it. Because the current double Stardust drop rate event. Right. The thing that I'm pointing out, though, Strom, is why is there a double Stardust drop rate event? just think about that. Let's do it like that. Hurrying to finish one feels weird. I think it's because they know that, like, it's a bigger deal. Like the reason they're incentivizing is because not only do they have stuff prepared for the next part, but I think they're both equally, like, preparing to transfer everyone to the next part, but also they recognize that probably for the content they have upcoming, that it's going to be a little bit of an issue if people haven't done anything with their class score. Well, that's unfortunate for that sucker. Jesus. That man just got rainbowed to death. I'm hoping for more unlockers. Like ASAP. I think they will give them out. Any idea why most history supports don't have NP5 skills 10-10-10? Oh, like so most story supports? I don't know, other than I think the devs don't want to, like, pressure the fan base to feel like they always have to, plus they don't want to give you a good version. But at the same time, I think it actually sets a bad, like, precedent for things. Did they unveil more info about the grand system? No, not yet. God, dude. Section 7 already. Holy crap. We are flying. I haven't touched class score. I think a lot of people haven't. Have you at least like Zar, have you been doing your
Your like storm pods at least. Tiara was top servant, yeah. 15 enemies this time. They're all really low health too, so I'm actually incentivized to basically just card my way through this. Oh, wait. Why does... Oh, it's fifth pen. Never mind. Okay. My brain was like, hold on, she has an extra skill cooldown reduction thing. Cost statue I had like none at the time, yeah. A lazy gamer preteen, it feels like that, yeah. Just for completing the class core system. It's possible. I won't say it's unlikely. However, I will say that's also something that like players just want. So it's like, be careful of thinking of like wishful thinking and then just being like, oh man, I really hope they do this because it would bail me out of my current situation. Rather than it being like, oh, hey, I should totally expect them to do this because it makes sense for the devs to do it because it benefits the devs. If you can answer the does it benefit the devs with a yes, then that's probably a good sign that they'll do it. If you can't or you're unsure, they might not. The other ordeal calls been this short fast. I mean, keep in mind I'm skipping story, right? So it is what it is. And I don't know. We'll have to see like how long this one actually is. Still 9 enemies to go, but now we're actually getting some damage. We'll see if I can do enough with the Bunny Buster in the 3rd slot. But I doubt. No, we got it. Never mind. How dare I doubt? Occasionally using them now, I just rely on using them on other nodes with the new quality of life. Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I even said when it first happened, I was like, oh, people shouldn't do things this way. And then I did. I did it myself because it's just, yeah, actually sitting there and going just after the same ordeal call, sorry, Bleached Earth nodes over and over and over again, it was really restrictive. So it's like now it just is what it is. It's not that those nodes aren't good. They really are. It's just that you only have a certain number of choices for those nodes, and once you have those materials kind of done, you're just stockpiling even more. Yeah, the idea is like she's like a watcher, right? Wait, was this supposed to be a difficult node? Because I never took damage. In like a year from now or so? Yeah, they projected it to take like, I think like 3+ years. Because I remember I did the calculations when it first started. Ah, beautiful. Now if I could just get 15 of the other new material. The one that Jontron actually needs. Yeah, we rolled her the other day.
Never doubt the bunny. Yeah, I need to stop, right? Like... Ugh. I don't know what class card to even start with. Go watch my video. I talk about that. Like, honest to God, chat, when in doubt, just go with Berserker. If you don't have another class that's really calling to you, just go with Berserker. Uh-oh. Probably should have put the arts card second or third. This bunny is gonna kill the shit out of this. Oh, maybe not. Nope, there we go. There we go. I forgot I didn't have that many crit stars, so it wasn't guaranteed crits. Hmm. Gonna go for the brave train for John Charon as well. Hello, Orga. Everyone's internet history, oh god. I mean, the extra class scores are actually really easy to do because it's a one size fits four. Oh, look at that beautiful mighty chain. Just be a real shame if somebody came out and was like, no. Get slept on. Extra class servants get a power boost in their ordeal calls. Not always. This is like, at least, this is the first one that I can remember them getting an actual power boost. There were others where it was like they were heavily incentivized because they were like effective damage. Developers said that we get the first ordeal call in the middle of May. Yeah, we should. And yes, chat, please be careful with spoilers. What chapter am I in? I have no idea. Chapter 8, I think? Something like that. Hal, thank you for the resub. Thank you for the 21 months. How you doing?
Is this just informing me of the recommended? Oh look, Avengers. Interestingly, a lot of Jolters. Well, whatever. I'm gonna ignore all instructions. I fucking knew it. You son of a bitch. I knew you would be here. I knew it. I knew it. Yorokobe. Okay, so throw in my own Jolter here. And let's see. Let's see what this fight is. Surely it's nothing, right? I mean, honestly, we've gone... As I say, we had to get a... of course. We had to get a boss fight at some point because we had already gone several chapters without an actual real boss fight. She just sleeps him right away! What the fuck? Oh, dude, that's great. That's actually great. Let's do this for right now. I don't know if it's gonna matter that he's even there.
バニーの力をお見せしよう。好き放題扱ってあげましょう。やる気出ない。寝る。だるい。ならば見せよう。我が広間を。はい。なっとはい。
So she should clear this. I think my concern is gonna be what the break bar effect is here. But this may be a break bar and done. Oh, it's a sleep off. So I think I got lucky. I think she tried to sleep Koyanskaya and it failed. She can't sleep the two rulers because they both have debuff immunities. She's a fan, yeah. My Kukulkan in the quest to unlock 3rd, 4th Ascension. Yep. There you go. Bunny 2-turn. Easy. It's really weird not hearing sound effects. Yeah. And thank you for the tier 1. Appreciate it, Orga. Yeah, can we get some love? What was the worst NP5 I've done? Well, when you say worst, what do you mean? Like which one took the most?
この時期は春の星座がよく見えますね。探すコツは牛飼い座のアークトゥルス。優れたま。
Then quartz wise? Yeah, that'd be made alter. Surely no. Oh god. Okay, thank god it didn't go right in. I was like, oh god, no, I did not want to take Herc here. Though admittedly, a Herc with Bonsi wouldn't be the worst thing. Yeah, the made alter rolls were 4,700 quartz. Though pretty much that entire summer I spent more than 8,000 quartz, so it was not fun. Is it not the same? Yeah, it's just 1 out of 1, 3 enemies. What fresh new hell awaits? One time, 3 turns. Why do I get the feeling there's some sort of trigger on attack? I really feel like that's the case.
おつらい。寝る。さて、バニーの力をお見せしよう。よしよし、いい子だ。
Don't get a bunny brave chain, but I do at least have a buster chain. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna just kill them dead here as fast as possible. Just die. Blind fights are best fights? I mean, that's kind of why, like, so far this ordeal call has not been hard at all. Granted, to be fair, chat, I have, like, one of the most, like, just stacked possible, like, rulers for, like, challenge content in this regard. Like, Bunny's just really good for this sort of thing. So like a ruler centric ordeal call was always going to be my jam, always. But still, I don't feel like they've actually done anything truly hard yet. Thick thighs save lives, but thigh highs are my demise indeed. If I had ruler Moriarty, pretty much. Oh, what's that? It's an underground Tesla coil. Oh, that's cool. I actually like that they modeled the concentric layers of hell. Huh. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I'm just... the artwork here looks really good. The door there. Like, it's really tiny, but they really put a lot of details in here. There's another door there. Door there. Like, I think this is actually, like, one of the cooler maps that they've done. Like, I know everybody really likes, like, LB7's map, but this doesn't brick my capture card, and so far it just looks way cooler. Like, not even gonna lie. Don't jinx it? Yeah, I know. Chapter 10. Well, keep sending it. Just rolling along pretty much. Is this map an accurate representation of how FGO is? Yeah, I mean, I think there's levels to this shit. Definitely levels of hell. Interesting, a Kelpie and 2, like, fishmen. That is a weird set of enemies here. May as well do it again. Like, at this point, if you're gonna keep giving me nodes that I can literally one turn, I will just one turn them. I don't see any reason not to. Feels like they've been splitting chapters into parts a lot lately. What, you mean like Lost Belt 1 and Lost Belt 2? Or you mean like the individual chapters? Not enough hells. Need at least 20 more. No, we need a level of hell for each quartz on the way to pity. It's the only way, chat. By the way, chat, any other, like, quote-unquote restricted scenes? Like, scenes that I have to watch? I don't get the feeling this is going to be a boss. Oh, this has to be a boss. This has to be. Oh my god, is this motherfucker supposed to be Chiron? I'm gonna lose my freaking mind. I am gonna lose my mind if he's supposed to be Chiron. That's just fucking hilarious. Alright, so wait, so how many guts does he have? 1? You'll know when you're at the last fight? Okay. Maybe he's a pretender. Oh, he's definitely a stand-in. Do it like that. Because I think I'm gonna need Bunny's crit to trigger the guts. Yeah, sorry. I know, like, my comments there were somewhat spoilery, chat. But if you know anything about Dante's Inferno, you kind of know where we are right now. So I just basically put 2 and 2 together. Oh, sorry, Charon. Yeah, not Chiron. The boatman, the ferryman, chat.
Gonna be another fight against him? Or is this gonna be Kelpies? Round 2? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I should read Dante's Inferno. Honestly, you should. It's really interesting.
どうせもう私が勝つから終わりでよくない？アフタヌーンティーの時間、アフタヌーンティーの時間です。
That's a 1 out of 2. I don't trust this.
やる気出ない。めんどい。
Do it like that.
それ。サクサクと。えい。良い風ですね。
I know my bunny. Have I played the Dante's Inferno game? No, unless you're referring to Devil May Cry. Well, these fish are dead. No, there's a Dante's Inferno game. Really? Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of it. Would have been an anime too? Probably. God of War copy. I mean, yeah, hack and slash, right? Like, I can't even really say that God of War invented the hack and slash genre. It was around for a long time before that. Well, this is different music, so oh no, Dante. I'm wondering if, oh, and it took the place of MASH. Interesting. Although this is my other, like, pre-made comp. Oh, we'll see. Featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Just okay. This is another one where it's like, it's simpler than I thought it would be. I was gonna say, if I remember correctly, the Buster Up is the one you always want to go for with them. Here, chat. I'll show you guys Dante's NP. And then maybe Jontron's art so that we get to her NP. If this doesn't kill. Actually did pretty decent damage considering neutral against a ruler and he didn't have damage bonus. Oh my god, it killed anyways. I cannot believe that killed anyways. Yeah, a lot of people were excited since, like, you know, they were fans of the Divine Comedy and stuff to see Dante come into the game. the movie is anime and has like 7 different styles of animation, oh god. It's usually not a good sign. Unless it's done for like stylistic reasons. And usually it's not. Sweet! Did my weeklies on JP without ever trying. Feels good, man. Alright, so this is the start of chapter 11, and we already appear to be on... I think this is the second circle of hell. So... I'm sure there's a lot more to come still, but like, this feels like a decent stopping point for now, chat. To be continued tomorrow. In the meantime, if you guys haven't already, go check out the JonTron review on YouTube. And let me see who else be on. I'm gonna send you guys over to... Oh god, I'm having a hard time choosing between these 3. I'm gonna send you guys over to Mr. Sideswipe. He is doing more Elder Scrolls Oblivion. So we'll give him some love. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll definitely be doing more of Ordeal Call 4. I'll see if I have a video for tomorrow, but I may just take it easy, so it just depends. Between Sideswipe and Kuan. Yeah, Kuan was one of the others, so. But it's all good. Go give Mr. Sideswipe some love. I'll be back.